9 to noon is live, and welcome in on a beautiful thirsty Thursday. We are rolling into the weekend, week 2 of the NFL, and the rolling in Crimson Tide into Camp Randall. We'll talk with Matt LePay, voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, in an hour. I'm Billy Schmid, back off vocal maintenance, which has got to be the strangest existence of all time. To not come in here and talk football in the middle of the week when John Coon is in here with us on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Armin Sarian back off his vocal maintenance as well.
It wasn't really vocal maintenance, but when you think you're doing vocal maintenance, you don't actually do vocal maintenance. And really, when you do vocal maintenance, you can't talk and you have to stick to it. And that's hard for me.
Getting the words per minute back in, John. I like that start there.
We had to make sure everything was good.
And go.
Go.
Get on that hamster reel and run.
And they're off on 9 to noon, racing down the back straightaway and do the turn and making sure that they're bringing you all the conversation.
Well, first of all,
he's opened up a 15-link race lead.
Well, actually, I'm happy. It's 9:03, so I'm happy. Thank you, Zabe, for getting us the show eventually.
Eventually.
I don't know what time you guys were checking the time. I'm keeping track of these minutes here.
I like that.
I'm keeping track of these minutes. So
you keep track of minutes.
Zabe
this is new and improved. Armin Sarian. You go on baby watch for a day. And by the way, how'd that doctor's appointment?
Everything was good. It's hard. It's hard to see.
Did
the
you
baby.
Drive that doctor nuts? Did he ask you to get out of there?
Sir, could you sit out there?
I noticed that. Like he kind of left, and I'm kind of doing I'm kind of asking him. I'm talking to him. I'm asking him questions, but no, everything is good. The 2-month, not easy, right? It's the one with the shots.
Oh yeah.
Right.
The doctor says to Armin, do you have any questions for me? And then you hear the narrator over the top say, and then he regretted asking that question.
Then he had plenty of questions.
The slow motion zoom with that black man,
See, but now
how did we get here?
Am I worse though? Am I the worst one, John? And we're going to get into a bunch of fun stuff because doctors are the ones talking to Jordan Love, maybe deciding if he can end up playing on Sunday. Didn't think that was a conversation. We're getting into it.
Oh yes.
But very conversely so, I think Armin probably has a laundry list of questions, right? CVS receipt worth of questions when he walks in there.
I saw this on Reddit, doctor.
Or am I the worst one when he goes, you guys got any questions? No, I think we're pretty good. I think we're pretty good.
Covered everything.
That's why as a dad, just for your sake, right? Like most dads go in there, they have 0 questions.
Oh yeah.
The doctor talks,
we done?
And you hear womp, baby's healthy, womp.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm going on. You know what I mean?
Yes,
you got any more
very
questions?
much so.
No. But with Mama in the room, Mama was in the room. I'm
Yep.
So then you have to have the right number. You have to ask 2 questions. That's what I'm convinced if you come up with 1 question, she knows you're just coming up with something just to come up with it. But if you come up with the second, she's like,
oh, he thought about this.
He's actually engaged. He's listening. He's talking back. 2 questions. It's a 2-question minimum. You're in and you're out. 2-question minimum, 3-question maximum, Armin. Did you go over the maximum?
I don't think so. It was sort of more like a running conversation than questions, but I don't think I went over 3. I think I was right at 3. So I think you're right.
And then Doc's like, I got another appointment. Let's keep this thing going here.
How did we get here? Yeah, one of those. One of those things. No, it was great, but you have to make sure you only have a certain allotted amount of time. So it's like
you want to make sure that you're in, out, getting the information that you need, getting it to your listeners, and making sure that they have themselves the best kind of experience possible. And then it was for me. I got the look of really nothing. And so
what else?
You don't have 1 question?
What do you?
I could find a question. That's a stupid question. You didn't even have to ask that. Now we're just wasting time, and then we're just stalling and getting away from the good stuff of finding out the real answers as to what is the difference between 96th percentile and 97th percentile.
Exactly.
I was always sitting there the first couple when I didn't ask any questions, and I learned the lesson of a 2-question minimum. As I'm learning this valuable lesson, I started thinking, okay, what are the questions I'm going to ask today? So 10 fingers and toes. How often do you see an extra one? No, can't do that. I can't go that way. I got to be serious about it.
It's funny. You guys know I love the numbers, right? I'm looking at the percentiles, the analytics.
How's she doing on a percentile?
Good. I didn't know he did head circumference too. Weight and height. I knew
head circumference.
Head circumference. How about that?
Big brain. What size hat she in?
40th percentile for head circumference. Pretty average.
Oh, you gotta get those numbers up.
70th for for height.
Oh, there we go.
Like 20th for weight.
Didn't get it from Dad.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't
got
think
a
that's
tall drink
continue.
of water on your hands.
There we go.
I don't think it's going to continue. 70th for height and 20th for weight. There's no one really tall.
You don't think those are
family.
going to add up?
No, I don't think so. But then I was like, where are these numbers sourced from? Like the percentiles are based on an average.
Yeah.
Is it Americans only? And I guess they're from the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
Or
My biggest question was
if it's Americans only. That's a big old percentile.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And can we can we slice and dice these numbers to get different metrics? Well, what about
you want a cross-cultural analytical approach here?
What about kids just in Milwaukee County? How
Sure.
can we,
break it down by demographics
demos.
even more?
I mean, we're in radio. I need demos. I
like
need
that
share
style.
points. I need numbers.
I was more surprised when John the percentile went over 100, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Head circumference 115 percentile. That doesn't make any sense.
Bigger than the biggest head in the world, can it?
Yeah. I'm wearing a 7 3/4. I don't think it can be bigger than this already. So let's
Carson,
keep that away.
You're used to those big numbers. Like Carson's a big boy, right?
I don't think he's dipped below 90 in just
Yeah.
about any of the
Yeah.
things. So that's a good start. That's where we want to be.
It's good
And that's
stuff.
Yeah, it's
Good
good stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Even better stuff. Doors wide open.
Wide
now,
open.
John, you Red Hot Tim Scott, Pipe Bomb talked about this a little bit yesterday. Started to set the buffet table. Say, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a foregone conclusion that Malik Willis is for sure starting quarterback running out of the tunnel, wearing the number 2 on Sunday in the home opener. And then Matt LaFleur just kicks that door even more open that Jordan Love could potentially be playing, as he says that he is preparing. He answers the question directly, saying he does not need to practice to play in the game. Vibes are much different here on Thursday than they were on Tuesday when we last talked of what could the injury designation be? Surprised if it would be doubtful. Right now, it feels like a very much question mark up in the air if we could see 10 running out on Sunday.
It was like pulling teeth on here yesterday, trying to get these guys to understand Jordan Love might play. And Jordan Love, if he feels he should play. MCLs are pain management.
Okay.
Depending on the athlete, and they can get through that pain. I mean, a quarterback, they don't run around all that much. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, definitely
I mean,
don't have to.
They run around a lot more in today's game, but you could play a game without running around. Aaron Rodgers did his MCL along with a bone bruise in 2018, came back to play the second half, carted off the field, came back to play the second half. So I'm like, if Jordan Love says he wants to play, let's put him out there. Because I gave the stat, which NFL sends us a big old sheet to get ready for these games every single week. I mean,
I love that.
The numbers and the trends and the history. In the history of the NFL, only 11% of teams that start 0-2 go to the playoffs. And I said, this is a big game. It's a big game. No, John, it's just 1 out of 17. It's a big game this week. In Aaron Rodgers' tenure as a Green Bay Packers never went 0-2. Never.
One time.
That's remarkable.
They never went 0-2 one time.
It's remarkable.
It is. I mean, it's a bad spot to be in at 0-2 when you figure 11. I mean, can we just bank on teams? And this is my biggest thing. Look at last year. Look at what they did. You have no guarantee you're going to get hot again. Look at 2016 when they ran the table.
Yeah.
When Aaron said run the table.
4-6, yeah.
Look at what year did he say RELAX? Look at the year Aaron Rodgers got hurt and missed 8 games. I think we've been spoiled by our fortunate history of runs late in the season that we just expect it's going to happen. You don't want to go 0-2. And if Jordan Love says he can play, now the doctor's got to clear him and tell the team, hey, he can safely take care of himself. If he can take care of himself and he says he can play, you gotta trust the player, especially when that player is your $55 million man.
Well, it's funny when you say that, not relying on being mobile as much. Some quarterbacks do, but Jordan Love doesn't run as much. Jordan Love has not been a guy that's necessarily needed to be very mobile in terms of running and making that part of his game. And I've lamented that. We went back and forth in that in the past, guys, about how I kind of would like to see Jordan Love run more this year, but that really has never been part of his game. In that sense, it could turn out to be an advantage in this sense, because let's say he does come back and he's less mobile, not moving. Well, you're not missing as much.
He doesn't need to be able to run, Armin.
Right. He never does much.
He needs to be able to step up in the pocket at 30% speed and throw that laser to Jaden Reed like he did in Brazil. That's what he needs to be able to do. And I believe he will. I believe he will be able to do that. I think on the other hand, on the other side of the scale, I think the Packers are going to be incredibly cautious with this, and they're going to make it hard for him to come back and play in this football game.
Well, and that was my question, because I think the biggest trigger, or the phrase that is going to pay here for Matt LaFleur that we're going to continue to hear for the next couple of days is, can he protect himself? John, what does that mean, right? Like, as you just mentioned it, be able to step up and throw the laser beam to Jayden Reed, be able to elude on the quickest moment inside the pocket, somebody diving in at his lead leg, that left leg. Is it all of the above? Because
they're not supposed to be able to dive at legs. Now, we know things happen because this is football, but
yeah, for sure.
They're not supposed to be able to do that.
But somebody does come in, right?
Somebody falls down, hits
falls
him in the
in.
leg.
It happens,
I say if you're healthy and somebody falls down and hits your leg, you got a chance of something bad happening.
Sure. Yeah. But like the protect yourself thing, that's the biggest part of it, right? It's not, can I hit my big rollout and be able to have a full complement of the offense, but it's, can I make sure that when that does happen, where something isn't supposed to come screaming in towards me in my lead leg, in my drop, that I'll be able to elude? Or is it just simply, I can get the 3-step drop off, and I know that I'm going to be able to hop around and make sure nobody's taking a cheap shot at me early?
Yeah, I think a little bit of that. I think more so, can he get the ball out of his hands quickly? Can he get the ball to the running backs in the run game? Right? If they're running outside zone from under center, can he hit that landmark? Can he throw the ball in quick game? Can he, if a progression's not clean early, can he get to his check down quickly? Like those types of things. And I think he can. I think if you make that a point of emphasis, I think you can. I think you can adjust there. And I think Matt LaFleur would love for the game plan to be a little more, I'll say complicated, but more so have the bells and whistles that Matt LaFleur wants his game plan to have.
The illusion of complexity, as I think he once called it years ago.
I like that.
The illusion of complexity. Well, here's exactly how it sounded from Matt LaFleur yesterday about Jordan Love, for anyone who didn't hear.
I'd say no.
Wow, how about that? I didn't know if I expected him to say it like that, but you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I don't think many of us expected this. I don't think many of us expected it on Monday, because Sushi in the Falls on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line said, Nooner's question, why can't Jordan play through the injury on Monday since Rodgers did it? As I didn't, we were told this is not happening. Today, you're telling us that he could and should play. I guess this is a great time to flip-flop since it is election season.
Well, it is. It's a great time to flip-flop. You flip-flop with injuries all the time. You know why? Because the initial diagnosis says 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, because bodies are not machines, and human recovery changes and things like that. Sometimes you feel better or worse. I don't understand what he's saying.
Giannis came back from a ridiculous hyperextension in what, 10 days? Not
everyone's the same, right? And sometimes recovery looks different for everybody, and sometimes bodies respond to treatment differently, you know? So I think that it's a good sign that he's recovering nicely, or the door at least is open.
Yeah, I do think though, from Sushi, and I understand the question, because like when we were talking about it, I thought, questionable designation. We thought maybe doubtful designation, and many people thought, no, you just can't risk it. You can't risk putting your man out there for the future investment if he is not 100%, that he is not at the top level that he could be here in week 2, that you can't risk further injury for it. The bigger part is, and to Sushi's point, and like we said of the initial diagnosis, I think more of it could be that maybe the grade was not nearly as severe as the initial on-field tests ended up showing, right? Like once the images were clearly defined of, hey, we could be back here sooner rather than later. Once that gets into the mind of Jordan Love, John, that's a dangerous thing, because once Jordan hears that I could be closer to being able to play than further away, then I'm missing a whole month. It's the part of why I brought up Patrick Mahomes at the beginning of the week when he dislocated his knee. And I remember saying, that dude's going to do anything in his power to play in this game. And then he was out on the field on Thursday and Friday, and people were saying, oh my God, this guy's a miracle, man. He still ended up missing 2 weeks. right? He still ended up missing games. But if you put it in the ear of a player, they're going to do anything in their power to try to convince that medical staff to let them go out on Sunday.
You have just this weird 2 extra days here because they played Friday night. And I'd normally say, yeah, it's going to be hard. You're going to have a good amount, but those extra 2 days, you can change incredibly day 6 to day 7.
Yeah,
sure.
It can be a massive change. And these things don't heal on a straight line. They heal on a curve. So keep the door open, keep the hope up. And, this one's very necessary. 0-2, I think is a bad spot.
I did wonder when the first time we hear someone refer to one of our previous Packer quarterbacks playing through injury when it comes to Jordan Love. Everyone's body's different. Now I understand, Brett Favre made a whole image about playing through injury. Yeah. Aaron, I think, did that a lot as well. Less heralded, but played through a lot of injury. I'm wondering if fans would kind of judge Jordan that same way because the last 2 guys did. We'll see what happens. I mean, the pain management injury, yes, but you also want to be able to make
that was our biggest point on Monday was that it's kind of unfair to just say, hey, simply, Favre would have played. Well, there were also other reasons why Favre was playing.
There absolutely was.
There were other reasons why I was able to, and it wasn't just, a man grunting on IG Live. Goodness gracious, fellas. So what a night it was last night. What a day it's going to start out as. What a show we're going to have here. In 40 minutes from right now, we're going to talk to the Hall of Fame voice of the Wisconsin Badgers. Our guy, Matt LePay, is going to stop by, talk about the Crimson Tide rolling into Camp Randall Field. Big noon kickoff on Saturday. And also where you can be trying to get your hands on some tickets to the Packers home opener. That information is coming up later on. Mark on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Guys, he has no shot to play. And you better hope he doesn't. Because if he does, Schneidman will quit his job. Hold on. What is this?
Did he get what?
Did we get a Matt Schneidman career bet here?
What?
Did we get a career match with Matt Schneidman?
He's got a hold to that. He's got a hold to that.
Did he say that at some point in time on his show or maybe
I hope so.
on his segment with us on Monday that
we
if Jordan
missed?
Love plays this week, I'll quit my job.
He's got the hold of that now. You can't just say something
if
like that.
If that's true.
Well, which job?
That's a good question.
I don't care. We're going to find a way.
Radio?
Jordan, get out there and play. Well, because, Mad Dog put his career on the line, and my man hasn't quit anything. He's still doing the radio show. He's still running the radio station. He's still doing First Take.
Wasn't there a guy on Twitter that said he was going to eat something if something happened?
He said he was going to eat some dog stuff out of a red Solo cup.
They still haven't tracked
Florida
him
State
down.
lost to Boston College.
Yeah.
He is still off the internet. We need to find out where that guy is because we need to see that happen.
You guys don't make guarantees like that if you can't back it up. I only did that one time. I said I would eat a cactus live on the internet if something happened. It didn't happen, thank goodness. That was the only time I said it. So don't say something like that if you're not going to back it up. I was researching cacti to see what was edible. Because just in case, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared to follow through.
That is the show that you are strapped up to. 9 to noon, an absolute rocket ship to the moon with Armin Sarian, John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, and all of you on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Do you expect to see Jordan Love when you are setting up at noon on Sunday? Or do you even want to? Are you like Mark and say, no, I don't want to see him out there? 414-799-1973. Nooner's answers coming up. It's 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon on the game. Man, us having a log of everything said on this radio station is a dangerous, dangerous beast for some callbacks. More on that in a second. John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sari and with you all on 9 to noon. NicoletLaw.com talking, text line buzzing this morning. And John Braden Slinger right away said, I was always under the belief that playing tentative in the NFL increases injury potential. Can John speak towards this as we're right now talking about the potential of Jordan Love playing through an injury, an MCL sprain on Sunday, potentially at Lambeau Field?
Yeah, not playing tentative, right? That's a whole different. The whole thing about protecting yourself is being confident that you can go out there and you can make the necessary movements that's needed for you to be able to handle. Again, this thing is more of a pain tolerance thing than anything else. Can you handle the pain?
We can do something about the pain
that you're going to feel. Yes and no. I mean,
we can do something about the pain.
They got stuff now.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you get some of them CBD gummies.
We find something for the pain. Yeah, we can do something for the pain.
I don't know.
Rob and Chris at Happy Place. We can do something.
Oh,
for the pain.
okay.
I don't know.
I also want him to be able to get the plays out.
Yeah.
know,
Well, I
make
mean,
sure
people
people
are
don't
already
do it.
suggesting on Brett Favre. Listen, there were ways that he was able to play at certain points.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that was part of his
We'll
story.
find something for the pain.
That's definitely part of his story, right? And to be honest with you, a lot of those injuries were ones you could play through. They weren't ligament or broken bones, so he was sort of fortunate in that
I
regard.
am surprised that whoever's running Brett's Twitter account hasn't put out the video of the game that he played with the sprained ankle against the Bears through the 5 touchdowns.
In 95.
And the
Great game.
caption just said, "Man, playing through pain with my Packers teammates always brought me such immense joy."
Yeah.
Great for Thursday, right? Just one of those random dumps in there, just to remember. Hey, man, I was able to do some stuff.
Well, no, it's good engagement farming.
Great engagement farming. Whoever's
running that account these days.
Maybe they're running Shannon's too. Will from Greenfield said, "You telling me that Brett Favre wouldn't have been out there? They didn't protect the quarterback back in his day like they do today. And if he wants to go and can go, then he should go. However, I understand the caution with quarterbacks in today's game, considering the money spent on them." John, that is a fascinating part of it because it is a clear difference. It is 1000% a factor, I would assume, for the organization, knowing the investment in. However, that comes down to all of the medical staff being able to, right, clearly say this is the pain management thing that John Kuhn has been telling us on 9 to noon for the last 3 or 4 days. There is no threat to you going back out there for this injury to be worse coming out on Sunday than there would be you going out and playing any other football game.
Quarterbacks, it's a different thing. Like a wide receiver, the pain would be you'd be feeling it on every single takeoff, on every single break. And and it would be severe because you're doing it at high speed. I don't know if you have to play the quarterback position at, you need to play it at the speed of the game, but you don't need to necessarily on every play burst. You don't need to necessarily on every play, jump cut. And those are the types of things that other positions have to do. That's why I do think, and we've seen it in the history of quarterbacks with MCLs be able to come back significantly faster than other positions. So my thing, purely this, right? If you don't think he can protect himself, you shut him down. You don't play him. If he doesn't think he can really do the job at a percent that's effective because of the pain, then you shut him down. But if both of those check out, if you think he can, the availability of everything within the offense, everything within the playbook, this is how it will change for a guy like Malik Willis. Motions, shifts, pre-snap, during the snap, everything, all the bells and whistles that a Matt LaFleur offense needs to be really successful. Matt talked about it last year. When you're on the road, you can't necessarily have the motions and shifts that you have at home, and that affects an offense. Well, when you have your backup quarterback, you can't necessarily have the motions and shifts. And everybody's doing it. You look last year at what happened to the Eagles offense. They were the lowest in the league at motions and shifts. Why was Kellen Moore brought in there? To increase the, creative and the complexity look of the offense. And that's what the Eagles are doing this year. They had much more motions and shifts in the last game. And that's where the offense is right now, because defenses are sitting back in that cover 2 and they're pinning their arrows back and they're trying to go after teams. And teams that don't have those motions and shifts, they can go after. So Matt LaFleur can, complicate things for Malik Willis, or Matt LaFleur can protect Jordan Love with his calls. It's going to be one or the other, depending on which quarterback is in the game.
And to hear the confidence and the bravado from our guy Matt Schneidman, because this was just brought up to us during the commercial break from Red Hot Tim Scott. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. We were able to dig up some confirmation and just hear the statement from the horse's mouth that people on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line are saying to us of the difference. Because if they are game planning 2 potential different game plans, maybe somebody in the building would know. Maybe somebody in the building would tip him off. I don't know, maybe somebody that does podcasts with once a month, presented by Potawatomi Milwaukee. But this is Matt Schneidman yesterday discussing the potential of Jordan Love playing on Sunday in the home opener.
I don't think he plays. I said I'm going to quit my job at iHeart if he plays.
Wow.
I've said that on the show the last 2 days. So if Jordan Love plays, I'm out of a job.
Holy.
And I probably have to put my house up for sale.
But that's a little far, but that also shows how much you don't think that
now that is not me
chops.
saying I hope Jordan Love doesn't play. I hope the kid is healthy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I hope he's healthy.
Yeah, okay.
Sure you do.
I don't know. I just think Hunter's licking his chops. No, listen, and maybe Indeed.com is going to be the next website Matt Schneidman is
Are you saying Hunter's excited because he thinks that there might be a 6 to 7 show opening?
I don't know. It just seemed kind of like he was.
Or because there's going to be a house going on the market.
Well, yeah, maybe
that's fair.
Maybe
True. Yeah, maybe
estate.
Hunter's trying to get himself up out of the Milwaukee area, trying to get himself up to the Green Bay area.
No, that's just for an investment. Hunter's just investing.
Oh, you're saying just long-term investing.
That's just for some equity investment. I don't think Hunter's, yeah.
He's a smart kid. He would be interested in doing some of that.
He's got different hands and different fires all over the place.
Now,
right?
I have not heard, John, hand raised in air, right hand in the Bible. I've not heard the rest of the Matt Schneidman shows from the previous couple of days during the weeks.
It's just a recap of his other predictions.
So I don't know how firmly, how vindictively, how
conviction he had. What kind
of conviction he had in his voice when he said on Monday, I'll quit my job at iHeart. I don't need this 6 to 7 radio show. I'll quit this job if Jordan Love plays. And then on Tuesday, maybe it was a little softer, because that on Wednesday sounded a little bit more like, yeah, I said it. Yeah, and I might have to. It might end up happening. That sounds like somebody that maybe is a little bit concerned about the larger investment that he had placed on this situation.
Should we give him a mulligan? Everybody deserves one good mulligan in life, right?
Well, let's wait and see if we're going to give one. Let's wait and see if we have to use it at least. Right here, but maybe we should. I mean, I'm not gonna be the one pushing him out of here and making him stick to it. I just want him to learn his lesson, to know that, hey, Matt, you have to follow through on things. Sometimes
truth hurts. Sometimes you got to do some stuff.
Hey, I ate mayonnaise on this station. I mean, we have to do some stuff if we say we're going to do it.
If you say you're going to do it, you got to do it.
No, I mean, we can give him a mulligan, John. I don't think we're, going to be that hard on it, but it's.
Oh, I'm not going to let him live that down.
You're not going to? Okay.
I'm not going to let him live that down. He's going to hear that quite a bit if he comes back on this radio show. He comes back on the radio show.
I think that's fair. I really do. But
it's going to be a lot of fun, because there is so much that you could potentially be throwing back at it. Now, if indeed that is the case, that he is maybe tipped off differently, or John, did you hear that differently? Did you hear Matt saying, yeah, I already know he ain't playing. There's no reason. And I can keep feeding this fire.
Yeah, what's funny about that is Matt was the one that I believe, let the world know he saw Jordan Love walk out of the building.
He got that
Friday.
video.
Yeah, that's fair. Yes.
Nobody was carrying his bags for him, carrying his own bags, walking out of the building without a limp and without a brace.
Right. He was the one that first brought that information to all of us. And I guess that was an indication that it wasn't catastrophically worse than as we kind of feared maybe in that moment in Brazil. But that is pretty interesting. By the way, guys, I went deep to find if Brett ever had a ligament injury. He did have a sprained LCL in 2002. Now, I don't know the LCL versus the MCL. That's the lateral collateral.
And lateral.
Right. But I don't know what is considered more the mechanism worse than other. Are they all equal? I mean, obviously the ACL is one people are most concerned of, but he did have that injury, a sprained LCL. So there you have it. If people want to play that comparison game between quarterback toughness and all that stuff.
Jeremy from the 262. Let's hope Love plays so there's no more Schneidman. Come on, Jeremy. That's not nice. Then Mark says, John, do we give the guy who's supposed to eat the stuff out of a solo cup a mulligan?
That's a tough one. Well,
because I really want to see that.
If he still has a mulligan in his pocket, right? He might have used his mulligan already. I feel like a guy with that reckless probably used his mulligan already.
Point.
His lifelong mulligan. So yeah, so probably not. But if he didn't, I don't know.
Yeah, if he was going to eat the white dog stuff out of a red solo cup just because they were going to beat Boston College, you don't even know what kind of guarantees he was making on FSU last year.
Exactly. What kind of bets was he already making, right?
I'd love to know what he was cashing last year. Oh, my God.
Already making. Absolutely.
Travis from Waukesha. Plot twist. Matt Schneidman already is red solo cup guy.
I mean, that would be wild.
Could you imagine Matt Schneidman having a burner account as being the FSU fan?
I just don't see him as an FSU fan, or else that would be it. I mean, he's an East Coast guy, not that part of the East Coast.
FSU and Syracuse,
not generally friends. No, different. I mean they're ACC enemies. However, sure will be fun.
We will miss his meltdowns between connecting flights.
What's your gut tell you? From Mike in La Crosse. What's your answer to the question without thinking too long? Jordan, not 100%. Malik Willis is 100%. I think it's important to trust the player and believe that if he inevitably says he's good to go, then you trust him. However, big however here from Mike in La Crosse. My gut is screaming to give him another week off to heal and give the guy who we traded for a chance to show what he's got. Talented young group of guys behind him with a stud running back, along with an improved defense while playing at home. He's had more time now to learn the offense, and it's a long season, especially the second half where Love needs to be healthy. That's Mike in La Crosse. He's asking for your gut. What does your gut tell you? I don't know that my gut is going to be able to have that answer until tomorrow. I think I'm going to need one more full day, fellas, to be able to say what my gut reaction or my gut decision is on if Jordan Love plays. I want a little bit more information. I want to hear what Matt Schneidman reports coming up here today. I want to hear what Matt LaFleur talks about today.
Right.
We're going to hear from the coordinators later on here today. And, maybe on the football feast, maybe I'll find a way to meander that conversation around and find a way to do that. We're going to talk a lot of Badgers on the football feast here tonight because we're going to be in Fitchburg, giving you an opportunity to potentially be going to the home opener thanks to Miller Lite. Matt LePay is going to be enjoying some buy one, get one free boneless wings with us tonight. Some discounted Miller Lite tall boys, 22 ounces.
I wonder what his order is at Buffalo Wild Wings. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their go-to order.
Well, we can ask him when he joins us at 10. We can also be able to ask him more important questions about the Wisconsin Badgers 2-0, taking on the 2-0 Alabama Crimson Tide. Top 5 team coming into Camp Randall. The voice of the Badgers gets us ready for it in 20 minutes. The NFL was ready for a change in the NFL kickoff. However, the numbers don't necessarily back up after week 1. We'll run it through. It's 9 to noon on the game. Hey guys, football season is in full swing. Week 2 starts tonight. And if you are not on the Underdog Fantasy app, then you're missing out. You're not finding and maximizing your NFL watching experience. Because with the Underdog Fantasy app, you can have even more fun watching any game that's on or the full bevy of games that are on a Sunday. Join in on the NFL Pick'em game from Underdog Fantasy, and you could win up to 325 times your money by simply choosing higher or lower on your favorite football player stats tonight. Josh Allen, higher on just about anything. I always like going Tyreek Hill on higher because especially when there's a touchdown involved, higher than a half a touchdown, you can potentially have a scorched statistic, which multiply your winning odds. Making picks on Underdog is super easy, and it's even easier to get started. Download the mobile app today or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Billy, and Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick'em entry. Plus, they're going to give you a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Yeah, you heard me right. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Billy. Claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. Week 2 in the NFL kicks off tonight. Week 2 of the football feast tonight in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Getting you ready for Badgers and the Crimson Tide. Matt LePay will be there. He's going to be here in about 12 minutes talking about that matchup. But week 1 in the NFL, John Kuhn, Armin Sarian, featured the first week of the dynamic kickoff in the regular season. There was, and many people were excited, John, on Red Zone, being able to watch finally somebody house one from 96 yards away in the Buffalo Bills Arizona Cardinals game. However, touchbacks still here after we not be enough. Looks like so far teams are airing. Yeah, we're not going to risk this thing for the biscuit. We'll give you the ball at the 30 and we'll go play some defense after week 1 in the NFL.
So I watched a lot of kickoffs during the preseason and even the first week of the NFL. And, you know, we got a lucky one. Nerve Dog kicked a little bit of a squibber that kind of skipped off that wet turf and got bobbled around before they picked it up, got tackled inside the 20, I think. And more times than not, this kickoff that you're landing at like the 5, because you don't want to land it 1 yard in the end zone. And so you're taking a little extra precaution, lands at the 5. It's getting returned out past the 30. So kicking teams once again are saying, well, let's just take the safe thing, no return, give them the ball at the 30 now. And my thought is this. They started changing the kickoff wide. Number one, because of safety issue. They called it the most dangerous play in football. I don't know if that's true, but they changed it and it checked that box. Check. It's
safe box, right.
The other thing they've done the entire time they've been changing this kickoff is they've been punishing the kickoff teams for kicking touchbacks. It's been a punishment on so they're trying to influence the kickoff teams from giving touchbacks. Maybe they should punish. This is just my thought. You want more kickoff returns? Because it went up, Billy. Last year it was 22%. Right now last year it was 12%, I think. Now it's 24% returns.
Okay.
So all right, doubled up. Let's go. Come on now.
I'll find the exact number.
That feels like me at the roulette table. If I double up, I'm feeling very, very good and I'm walking away.
Love that strategy.
I'm taking those numbers.
I'm going to get you the number real quick.
But it does seem counterintuitive if you're going to punish.
Okay, no, last year it was 22%. Now it's 34%. So didn't quite double. But it's not the impact you wanted. You wanted to see more kickoffs. You see a little bit more, but not a lot more. 34%. You did see a kickoff return for a touchdown this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You did see that. But if you truly want more returns, if you truly want this play to be more impactful, you punish the offense for the touchbacks. If you make the touchback back to the 20, which I would suggest, you put that touchback back at the 20, then the kickoff return teams are going to start bringing it out.
Right.
Because they're going to say, we can get past the 20.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to try, maybe move the kicker back 5 more yards, let him kick off from the 30. Because what's it matter? The kickoff team's already down there.
Yep.
Put the kicker back so he can't boot it all the way through the end zone. Make him kick that thing 2-3 yards deep into the end zone and see if teams, do you want to take it at the 20? Or do you want to try and return it past the 20? I think that's the way that you get, because for so long we've been punishing the kickoff team with these new rules. Now they're saying, well, we'll just move it to the 35-yard line. Well, guess what? The way this thing's developed already, teams are returning it to the 33-yard line. I understand this is going to encourage scoring, influence scoring. Scoring goes up. Roger Goodell talked about that on our broadcast from Brazil, that is, a consequence of this thing is that scoring will be up. And he basically said it in a way like, yeah, we like these high schools.
Yeah. Oh, darn. Oh, rats. We're going to have more points. Yeah. We just hate that more offense is going to come into it. John, you mentioned moving back 5, the kicker. Move him to the 20. Like, I mean, you're not moving
to the 20.
Like, you're not moving where the landing zone is. You're not moving where the starting zone is for the runners going and tackling. It really doesn't matter, right? Like, I think that is the ultimate change would be where you move the kicker, because these kickers are too good. They're going to be able to boot the thing out of the back of the end zone, maybe even at the 30 if they do. That's a different way of saying it, because otherwise these teams are going to look at it and say, I like the ball at 35. I'm not going to risk it, because we have seen a couple of cats now. Maybe it's only the Keyshawn Nixon one that's still floating in the back of my mind, getting taken down at the 14-yard line. And maybe the most important part, guys are going to be aggressive. Guys will still want to. However, if every single special teams meeting, head coach is walking in saying, fellas, right here, having none of it. Kneel, knee down, End of story. We're done with it. Like that will cease a lot of the kick returns, and you'll have very much the same issue. If the NFL wants to, and I think this is a exact reason why they didn't just go out to the 35 like the XFL did, they want it to be theirs. They didn't want to just use the XFL's model. That would be the way of changing it up and saying, yeah, we like them putting it at the 30 and 35. Yeah, maybe we'll move there. Ours is completely different. Kickers at the 20-yard line. Try booting it through the uprights now.
That's a great idea. Do a combination of both. Kicker at the, let's call it kicker at the 25-yard line.
Yep.
Move him back 10 yards. Move the kicker back 10 yards. Kicker at the 25-yard line. Return teams, if you down it, you get it at the 20.
Mm-hmm.
That would get a heck of a lot of returns. That would influence returns. I bet you we'd start seeing 60, 65, 70% returns at that rate.
But he'd be over 50 at least.
Here's the problem for me that I think is a conundrum for the league. All at the same time, they want to reduce the injury risk of kickoffs while still having more kickoff returns. They know people want to see the play. They know it's an exciting play, but what are you trying to do? Are you trying to promote the kickoff? Are you trying to returns or not? It's like they're trying
at the end of the day, doesn't it just feel like, Armin, doesn't it just feel like they want scoring to go up?
Yes,
doesn't
they
it
want
just
action.
feel like, doesn't it just, they want action. They say they want action.
They say that.
They say that, but doesn't it just feel like they just want scoring to go up? They want scoring to go up. There are massive differences from starting at the 20-yard line to the 30-yard line to the 40-yard line.
Well, yeah.
Massive differences in the amount of points that are scored. I got graphs for that as well. And if you really truly want to see this play happen, like you say, if you really want that type of excitement, like you say, then you will tweak and you will adjust this so that you do get more returns.
I think the league knows that what the fans love about football are putting some of the best displays of human athleticism at the forefront, and the kickoff does that. The kickoff return does that. Speed, power, agility, athleticism, power, contact. But they know people want that, but they want to say that they're putting health at the forefront, John.
Put the kickoff back at the 25-yard line and tell the kicker, if you can kick this thing 85 yards,
good for you.
Then they get it on the 20. That would be fun. I would put some motivation in this.
I agree it would be fun. But then my thing is like, well, let's just make kickoffs the way they always were then if we're just going to try to promote kick returns again.
They don't want the players running 40 yards before they run into something.
I know. And that's what it is. They don't want them to be at full speed, but they know deep down fans want it. And that's what's I think that's
and they
what's
also
tough
do. They don't want it to be a 7-minute in between two commercial break full checkout moment where you can go to the bathroom, get a couple scoops of taco dip,
good point.
Grab a meatball or two from the spread, maybe one of those pinwheels, and then you're back in the seat by the time the offense starts.
Especially the way it used to be when there used to be a commercial, then a kickoff,
then a commercial.
Yeah, and you were just dead. It was 8 minutes of downtime before you saw your next play.
You could go bathroom, out to the garage, get a beer, have a smoke, come back and make your plate and still be back in time by the time the game would fire back up.
Pipe bomb would smoke 3.
Yeah, he would. He would be able to. He'd be
easily.
ripping those heaters.
Damn near all at the same time. That is a feat to be able to watch, is that man with a pack of Marbreds. One other thing to be able to witness is Matt LePay call a Wisconsin Badger game. Now, not many are lucky enough to see it inside the Matt LePay broadcast booth. Soon to be named after Matt LePay, right? We're trending in that direction. However, you can listen to him execute his toil. Saturdays, 11 a.m. kickoff. You can also see him do the radio magic coming up on the other side on the YouTube stream and our X stream, not Instagram Live. We're not going live on Instagram and grunting. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X, and we are live with the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers, Matt LePay, next, hour 2 on the game. Nine to noon, hour two, rolling into a beautiful weekend of football and a huge one in Madison, Wisconsin. One that not hyperbole to say this, that we've been waiting almost a decade for in Madison, and to talk about it coming up each and every day, each and every Thursday, is our guy Matt LePay. Today, double duty for Matt LePay. Not only does he get the distinct honor of hanging out with us here on 9 to noon, also being on the Twitter and X stream.
Let's go.
Hanging out with the YouTube comments, Matt, which are a wild place. Matt LePay also gets blessed with some saucy nugs, some boneless wings. Buy one, get one tonight, as he's a part of the football feast in Fitchburg. Matt, goodness gracious, we got the Crimson Tide coming in here, and you're working overtime all week. That is how you become a Hall of Famer. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Jim Harbaugh would say, with enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I mean, who has it better than us, Billy? We get to hang out, drink beer, eat wings, put it on Red Hot's tab. I mean, does life get any better than this?
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Matt, when you talk about it, though, and I mentioned it, like when this game comes on the schedule, Hunter Wohler, also outstanding neck on that young man when he was on Big Ten Network yesterday. But he was talking about it, saying for some of the players that are the leaders on this football team, it was one of the reasons why they came to Wisconsin, was to play in a game like this, to be at Camp Randall, knowing that one of the blue bloods of the sport, one of the gold standards of the sport, is coming in for a home and home. This is a really, really important game to the program and one that they've been trying to build towards for a number of years.
Yeah, they're not hiding it. You mentioned Wohler. I was after their practice yesterday, I was talking with Fickle. We were recording some stuff, and Hunter came over to us right as we were getting ready to record, and he said, "I'm ready right now. Let's go play right now."
I
So
love that.
yeah, there's no hiding it. I mean, you hear all the cliches. Well, it's another game on the schedule, this, that, and the other, which technically it is, but they're not hiding from the fact that this is a game that people are excited about. You know, the fans have talked about it since it was put on the schedule a few years ago, and players, they live for these kind of games, and we'll see how it unfolds. There are very few people who are giving them a chance, but as long as those guys believe they have a chance, then let's tune in and see what happens.
Now, Matt, when you have a big game like this circled on your calendar, you have your 3 non-conference games and one that sticks out, big time, like Alabama. A lot of people with Western Michigan, a lot of people with South Dakota wanted a bigger score, wanted a bigger outcome, more production. Is there a chance that Luke Fickell and the staff treated those first 2 games like preseason games? And what I mean by that is, in the NFL, you don't show a whole lot. You don't roll out your whole game plan, all your exotics on third down defense, all your wrinkles on offense. Is there a chance they got some stuff in the bank here that they're saving for Alabama?
I think there's always that chance, John, and that's been a popular question, as you would imagine. Like it's been a fairly vanilla look here. You know, the Western Michigan game, they talked about how, they took what was there, and what was there was the short stuff, and they would have the 16-play, 80-yard drives. I still think, even if that's true, the question is, do they have the ability to execute those plays that can get them big chunks? We go back to last year. That was the lowest scoring, points per game Wisconsin football team we've seen in about 20 years. And these games, they've been in the 20s. So yeah, there might be some stuff that they've left in the bag, but do you have the capability of actually executing that against an Alabama defense? Guys, when you watch these guys, this front 7 in particular, you're going to say, that guy's going to be in the league. That guy's going to be in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And the linebackers can run like crazy. And it's going to be a really daunting test. But, yeah, you would hope that they've got some stuff saved up for this game, and then hopefully some more stuff saved up for down the road in their schedule too.
Matt, it's different, right? Because without Nick Saban, I don't know how exotically different their offense and defense will be. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't watch a ton of the South Florida game. I did watch the Gamecast because your boy was catching, I think it was 28.5 with the Bulls at that moment.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter, I'm like, what? Could we just make this a 45-minute game instead of a full 60?
Running clock.
I thought we signed up for 60
at
USF. But Matt, when you see it, they're a different outfit. The players and the talent level won't drop off. But Kalen DeBoer, a little bit different mode for him, where, he's won everywhere he's gone. Last year, he loses a couple of his coordinators. So are you even looking at years past Alabama to study in what you might expect here? Or is it just the last couple of games to be able to see what you got on that chart?
They're saying that with the way DeBoer likes to play, and then he's got Nick Sheridan, who's over with him now as the offensive coordinator, you could see a little bit more pre-snap movement, more motion with their offense. What'll be interesting over the course of time is that at Washington, his offensive linemen tended to be smaller than all those big dudes that Saban had on his offensive line. For instance, their center, who's a real good one, and he transferred from Washington. He came over with DeBoer, Parker Brailsford, really, really good player. He's 290. Now, I would think that Saban, most his offensive linemen are in the 310 and up. In fact, they're the left tackle, who hasn't played yet this year, but he played every game last year as a freshman. He's about 370.
Oh yeah,
So it'll be interesting. Will you go smaller? Can you do that in the SEC? But the one thing that you'll notice with this team, I think, well, hopefully as a Badger fan, they won't notice it too much, is that they have receivers who can fly, and they're young, but they believe, talking to people in Alabama this week, that they've got multiple receivers with an ability to stretch the field, including their version of a Braylon Allen. We talked about him being only 17 years old. They have a receiver who's 17 years old who's already got 3 touchdown passes in the first 2 games and is averaging 34 yards a catch. So that gives you an idea of his ability to run and get behind the defense a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and
that doesn't suck.
And a dynamic quarterback as well, right? Back here, calling the plays, signal caller, distributing that football, running himself. He's a big guy now. He's a big target, big guy. How do you think the Badgers go about trying to slow him down? Do they take the Packers approach like they did against Jalen Hurts and say, make him stay in the pocket, just don't let him escape, even if that takes a little bit away from the pass rush?
I would think so, John, because you're right. This guy can run the ball. It was more than 500 yards rushing, and that's, in college, sack yards are rush yards. So he's still, he had a couple games where he ran for more than 100 yards, and he is big. He's 6'2", 225. I think they're trying to make more of a commitment, or he is, to hang in there and throw the ball more. But yeah, you've got to keep him in the pocket, and you almost, they would never admit it, but I sit here as an observer thinking this guy's probably going to get some big plays with his feet because he's just that good. But you have to try to find a way to limit that, because there are those who would tell you he is as athletically gifted as any quarterback in college football right now.
Matt, talk about the Badgers offense a little bit. It was great to see CJ Williams get into the end zone against South Dakota. They miss him on the flea flicker. Totally different concept when you go RPO. I understand that, but you can't tell me Phil Longo didn't think about it. All right, we missed him on the first one. We're hitting him on this one. And when Tyler Van Dyke gets out of the pocket and is able to find him, nobody in his own zip code down the right sideline for that 50-yard touch. Good to see. We've seen Bryson Green have those moments. Will Pauling, technically their leading receiver. Those guys were all last year headliners, and Badger fans were expecting them to make massive improvements right away in year one. Have you seen a little something different from them in year 2? Even though there's a new quarterback, year 2 in the system, they all seem to be at least starting to unlock maybe hopefully a little bit more of that playmaking ability that we hoped you would see in 23.
Yeah, talking to CJ Williams this week, he said just that, Billy, that the second time around now in this system, they just have a better feel for it where they can just go play and not think about every step that they're taking. And for Williams to get that first touchdown out of the way, he admitted it's like, okay, I can exhale now. Let's go. Let's just keep going, go play. It's still, look, man, this is, I know it's a cliche, but it is a work in progress with these guys. I think everybody was hoping that they could get into the 30s, get into the 40s, especially in these first couple of games, kind of, the way they played in the bowl game against LSU. That hasn't happened yet. But, Phil Longo earlier this week, the offensive coordinator, he has said that he's encouraged with the direction. They're not doing anything great right now.
What are we doing?
But,
Sorry about that, guys.
They're on a pretty good path.
All right. Wish I heard that last little piece.
Sorry about that, guys. We lost that for a second.
In here.
I'm sure it was spectacular and very articulate.
It was a Hall of Fame answer. That's what it was.
I know Rogue Audio there. Sorry.
I want to ask about the 18-team Big Ten. Couple teams really opening some eyes. Michigan State starting 2-0, Nebraska coming in here looking like a different Nebraska team than we've seen in the past. What's been your overall thought of this new Big Ten and maybe some of these teams that are showing up on your radar early on?
A team on the flip side of that is Oregon. Oregon's 2-0, but hasn't looked overwhelmingly good doing it. They need a last-second field goal to win their game last week. They struggled in week 1, but they found a way, and that's a team that a lot of folks have projected not just to get into the playoffs, but make a real deep run. I want to continue to keep our eyes on Nebraska because of the way they've started. I don't think Colorado's all that good. They've got 2 exceptional players, but I don't know if they're quite ready for this. But still, for Nebraska to win on the home field convincingly, that's worth watching. But right now, so early, John, but Ohio State has been as advertised. I mean, they're beating the brakes off of their teams. They are much more talented than, but they're showing it. They've got big play capabilities. They've been the one that has stood out above the rest to me. Michigan got humbled, last week against a really good Texas team. Penn State struggled against Bowling Green. I still think those teams are really good, but right now, Ohio State, through week 2, whatever that's worth, has, in my mind, separated from the pack a little bit.
We're talking our boy Dolph off the ledge here in the Megaplex because, I mean, 41-0 or whatever it was, week 1, 90-some yards of offense they gave up, Matt. He was walking around ready to anoint the Hawkeyes, potentially Big Ten champs. Then Kirk Ferentz comes back onto the sidelines and, like, they don't throw the ball. So I was wondering if Tim Lester was about to call into the headset, because now Cade McNamara can hear the play call that way, say, all right, 3rd and 4, going to air it out. Let's run Mills. And then all of a sudden Kirk Ferentz just overears and goes, run up the middle, no yards. We're punting it away, and we're keeping ourselves into what we want Iowa football to be. There are so many of these teams, though. The overreactions are beautiful. There will be overreactions all over the place. The Michigan one, though, you mentioned they got humbled. That team does look quite a bit different than the freight train that was just running power all over people a year ago. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that back in a year to how special that was. I mean, you bring it up a lot of times. That was 2020, right? When Wisconsin went in there and convincingly handed it to Michigan, and then the two teams and the two programs went in completely different ways. It just seems like Michigan had a great crescendo moment, and they're going to have to work themselves to get themselves back to where they were a year ago.
Yeah, they lost a lot more than the head coach and the strength coach who he took with them, Ben Herbert, who played here on Rose Bowl championship teams. They lost their offensive line. They lost their quarterback. They lost a lot of key pieces off of a national championship team. So this was a year, the last couple of years, they scheduled down in a big way in non-conference. This would have been a better year for them to do that. But college football, these non-league games are scheduled so far in advance. This was a tough year for Michigan to play Texas. It might have been a much different result had they played last year or the year before. I guess I'm not going to rule them out, Billy, but I'm also not, I guess I can't say I'm surprised that they have struggled. And I didn't think they'd get boat raced quite like this. But I'm not gonna dismiss them yet either, because you mentioned that 2020. I mean, Patrick Mahomes tweeting about Graham Mertz after he throws for 5 touchdowns in their opener against Illinois. They beat the crap out of Michigan a couple weeks later, and then, man, everything changed. So, college football, kind of like the NFL, final results or final judgments are made every week. So I'm going to try to avoid that with Michigan, at least for now.
Matt, this game obviously has been on the books for a very long time. People have had this circled and ready to roll. They got their tailgate plans all established. There's even a bye week next week that the team has
well done
to really lock in to this one singular game here at Camp Randall. What are you expecting the feel and the atmosphere to be? Can you remember a game this anticipated?
Not out of conference. They played back in the mid-'90s. They played Colorado. It was the first game of the year, Rick Neuheisel's first game as a head coach, and they come out in these alternate uniforms. The Badgers do. They're all fired up, and Colorado beat the daylights out of them. So that was like 1995, something like that. But for out of conference, no. In my time here, it's an 11 a.m. game. I was telling somebody, Wayne Larrabee, when we were doing our pod yesterday, I said, I'm not going to say it's going to be full, because it never is at the opening kick, much like a Brewer game. It takes a couple innings for everybody to get done playing cornhole and get into the ballpark. Similar thing here, but it should be closer than usual. Let's put it that way, because of the excitement about Alabama being here. But I would also tell you that just being around here in Madison, there's great excitement. There's also a lot of apprehension, wondering if this team is quite ready for a primetime game like this. But it is. I think a lot of folks from Alabama are going to be here, so it should be a pretty good atmosphere.
Well, what would an upset look like in terms of a script in your mind? What would be the keys to an upset? I mean, because let's fast forward to 6 o'clock Saturday. We're celebrating the upset.
Or 4 o'clock while people are listening to the local Wisconsin UP Ford dealers post-game show.
4 o'clock, absolutely. I'm just saying, 4. Well, 6 is 4. We're still in the euphoria. 6 is when we start thinking
once
about,
it settles down, you've had a couple extra fish bowls at Wando's after the game. You calm down, heading to Brats for a sandwich or two.
What do you think, Matt, in terms of if you could think, what would a script look like? Keys to an upset. Why would it happen and how would it happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. But first, Billy, I got to see, is Lance Allen, is he shaving the playoff beard yet? He's looking kind of rugged, looking mean. So, okay.
I'm trying to match him, but Matt, this is like 4 weeks. And I think I'm going to need 4 months to be able to get to where Hollywood Lance Allen is right now.
That ain't it, Billy. I'm just saying.
He needs
Sorry,
a
I
raise.
just
I wouldn't worry about Lance with the beard. When he stops showering and he starts wearing the same clothes over and over, that's when we got to really start putting an APB out
That's
there.
when we
on
start
our
getting
buddy
worried.
Lance.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty toasty on Saturday, so that's a great point. To your question, Armin, the formula, I think it's like this when it's happened against Wisconsin in games where it's been favored. You need to get some turnovers. You need to get a couple. If you could get whatever that number is, +2, +3. Alabama has been a little bit sloppy and was last week. That was a 5-point game with about 6 minutes left against South Florida. They also had a ton of penalties, especially on the offensive line. So for me, for Wisconsin, if you get a short field, if you're only going 50 yards or fewer, I don't know if there are many programs in the country. I would like their chances of having to go 80 yards time and time again against this Alabama defense. So if you can knock the ball out, get a pick, pop a big play on special teams, get a big return there, anything to shorten the distance to the end zone for this team and not just get field goals. When the chances are there, you got to hit it. And South Florida last week, their quarterback ran the ball really well, but he missed 2 or 3 throws that were touchdowns had those passes been completed. If there's one area that the Alabama folks know that there's room to grow, it's in the secondary. There's a couple of freshmen there that South Florida tried to pick on, but just couldn't complete those throws. So you're going to get a couple shots maybe, but you got to hit them against a team like Alabama.
Tyler Van Dyke legacy game.
Right,
350 yards, 4 touchdowns. It might just be one of the greatest games ever played.
96 years ago, no one thought the Badgers were going to upset Alabama when they walked into Camp Randall and got that loss. 1928, the last time they got the upset win.
Look at that callback, Carmen.
They thought Wallace Wade was going to walk right in, and
they threw 4 passes in the game.
Matt, you got that on your board?
15-0 shutout. Yeah,
I do. The students were late. Still, they got there, but by the end of the first quarter, man, they were going crazy. It was unbelievable.
Especially when they lost Milo Lubradovich, the left tackle. We broke an ankle bone the opening kickoff.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't deter him. I mean,
starting tackle on the kickoff. Very interesting.
Coach Thistlethwaite had those guys going.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I didn't know that Armin Sarian is the Badger historian. I don't know how the Martinet folks are going to feel about that, but that's good knowledge.
You got to go deep. You got to learn from your past. And I think, you got to let the past,
where does your line of demarcation start? Like right around World War II when you stopped being interested in the Badgers and only Marquette?
This was pre-war, man.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
1928. I think, listen, 2 meetings with the Crimson Tide, and this was the last time they beat them in Camp Randall or in Madison. So I think it's going to be a legacy game.
Again.
It's going to be a legacy
soon
game.
to happen again. Matt, we can't thank you enough for being able to pop on, enjoy that, and most importantly, be able to talk with our Badger historian, Armin Sarian, here today, which thank you for unlocking that hidden talent of his for us.
Yeah, Arian, I know you don't do enough, so come on over to Madison, come over to Buffalo Wild Wings today. You can drop some more knowledge on us, or maybe you got something else to do.
Maybe I'll swing by on the way home. I don't know. Maybe I'll swing by.
Fitchburg's right on the way home.
Hey, what's
around the corner?
Whip around the belt line. You're right there, and then we'll be home in an hour.
I mean, I need to eat dinner. I can use
Take some wings home to Laura.
Exactly? What's your order, Matt? When you go to Buffalo Wild, do you have like a set order? Do you go garlic parmesan, or is it like a?
Oh yeah, I get a little bit of everything because it's on Red Hot's tab. So it's a little of this, a little of that. So about 6 or 8 beers, we're good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, it's going to be a time. Listen, those Doll Boys are going to be rolling here tonight in Fitchburg. We can't wait for it.
And Saturday after the upset. If you want to find a free beer when they win, you find Red Hot. He'll be buying for everybody.
Be buying for everybody. I like that.
Well,
okay.
Don't you think?
Let's go. Listen, I'm down with that. And hopefully the post-game show gets a little more pace to that if Red Hot's tab is wide on open. Matt, we can't wait for Saturday. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you tonight at the football feast.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
That is Matt LePay, Hall of Fame voice of the Wisconsin Badgers football team, as well as the basketball team. But you hear right here on 97.3 The Game. Awesome for him to be able to jump on our stream here today. That was fun.
Love that.
Yeah. Awesome. Technology working, technology not working. Yeah, we had a little bit of both during that segment. That's good.
We had 95% proficiency in there.
I think Bill Huber just got really excited and just wanted to interject himself into the conversation.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll hear more from Bill Huber coming up. We'll talk some Packers football as well. But on the other side, number 2, week 2 of the return of What Does Billy Know? Get your guesses in. Thanks to Tappan Golf Bar, Waukesha, and in Sussex. An hour of simulator time on the line on the other side. Does Armin finally go to the well of his Hawk Tua questions, or does he have something different for us? You'll find out on the other side. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And wow, these Brewers have been having a surprise season. A new manager, some really important pieces that left and went elsewhere, and yet they've had this great time rolling through this year. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin wants to remind you they always finish first in their window and door leagues. That's because Pella manufactures all their own products. Each one of those products gets tested thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. Quality, craftsmanship, and innovation design are built into every Pella product for timeless beauty and performance, and you will know that because you will pick every detail. Pella's windows and doors are the best in class, not only from their endless styles, but for the features you can't see. And now for something you almost can't believe, get as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Listen to the deal again, $18 per patio door and $81 per patio window per month, but you got to hurry. This deal only lasts until September 30th. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. And when you do go in, please let Gina Della know that John Kuhn sent you. Visit PellaWI.com today.
It's go time. It's 9 to noon. Welcome back to the program. And it is time now for the return. Well, week number 2 of the return of a lot of Nooners' favorite segment. What does Billy know? Now presented by Tap In Golf Bar in Waukesha and in Sussex. If you want to keep your swing fresh all year long, you can't just take 6 months off. Go to Tap In Golf Bar, Waukesha and in Sussex. Their league play starts coming up in October. You can sign up now. They still have their summer rates going through the end of September. But one of the coolest parts about their league play is you don't only play on Thursday nights. Pick the night of the week. So you and your partner can play on Tuesday this week at 4:00. Reserve the simulator. Get your scores in there. Tuesday's not going to work next week. I got the kids. We got softball coming up. What about 8:30 Wednesday night? Boom, book the simulator. You and your buddy go in, get your scores in, carded for the week, and you're in. Play whenever you want. Reserve your simulator time there. And at the end of the season, a championship round between the two locations in Waukesha and Sussex. Their full swing technology on their simulators, courses around the world, and endorsed by John Rahm, my personal favorite, Tiger Woods, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth in there. It's a great place. Best part is Bevcart never too far away, because they got a full-service sports bar right in the middle, TVs at every bay, so you can watch all the games, watch some crew into October, watch some football on Saturdays and Sundays. It's the place to be. Tap In Golf Bar in Waukesha and in Sussex.
Sounds like a place you'd love, John.
Yeah, simulator is very good for building your putting, believe it or not. You can actually, get you, for all those people out there struggling with strokes lost due to putting, you can really pick up some strokes putting during the winter. It's just 6 months off. It's just too long of a break here in Wisconsin. Make sure you get there and check them out, because that's how you get better. All right. Always favorite part of What Does Billy Know? Armin's topic for the week. He's got a great
and proofreading the questions.
Armin's, listen, all that information Armin knew about Alabama coming to Camp Randall and playing the Wisconsin Badgers. You would anticipate that this would be What Does Billy Know about the rivalry of Wisconsin and Alabama. That is not. No,
it wasn't.
Armin picked for today. Armin picked a topic very much on everybody's mind, and it's who's going to start quarterback for the Green Bay Packers this week. And if it happens to not be Jordan Love, what does Billy know about Packers' newest quarterback in Malik Willis? Only been here for about, call it just under 2 weeks right now. So what does Billy know about Malik Willis? We'll start with question number 1, the softball of all softballs. Billy, what number does Malik Willis wear for the Green Bay Packers?
Number 2.
Okay, there you go.
Well, I thought this might be my only week to do this. I'm hoping.
Give him a softball?
No, just do the Malik Willis topic.
I didn't know that there was a Malik Willis topic, John. Like, that's, I think, the even crazier part. Like, Malik Willis topic.
You're going to get some really good facts here about Malik Willis. So when he starts on Sunday, all the Nooners that listen are going to get to talk to all their friends that don't listen to 9 to noon, tell them how much they need to listen to 9 to noon. By dropping all this Malik Willis knowledge on them first, they're going to start with, you see number 2 out there? That's Malik Willis.
Right.
Geniuses.
I will address that after we're
Thanks,
done here.
Adam. I knew that.
Yeah, I will address that.
I already hear my sister yelling at my
Question number 2 that you can use to show off to all of your friends. Everybody knows that Malik Willis was drafted out of Liberty, out of college, but where did he start his college career?
See, I thought this would be the softball, because Billy, has got the college football encyclopedia in there, in that noggin.
Auburn?
Auburn is correct.
Let's go. Right behind Bo Nix, I believe is where he got beat out.
Can you imagine Nooners telling their friends, hey, he's from Liberty, but he started at Auburn? People would be like, how do you know all this stuff? Well, I listen to 9 to noon. Bam! We got another time spent
sensing some sarcasm. All right, go ahead.
Question number 3 that I know Billy knows already.
Well, he just said
this is the quarterback that Willis lost the starting competition to that led to his transfer to Liberty.
I'm going to go Bo Nix.
Oh my gosh, Bo Nix, that incredible rookie out of Denver. Did you know he beat out Malik Willis when he was at Auburn, and that's why Malik Willis ended up transferring to Liberty? Man, you know a lot about Malik Willis. How did you learn? 9 to noon.
Listen to 9 to noon. You should too.
Question 4. Well, Tommy and
you
Baby
can listen
knows
wherever,
about him.
even if you're not in Milwaukee area, on the iHeartRadio app. Genius. They help you out that way too.
How about this one, Billy? Question number 4. Willis was the winner of the 2020 Dudley Award.
Ooh.
Which is given for what?
Okay. What it should be given out for is somebody yelling, Devon, get the tables. Because if it's the Dudley Award, it would be the Dudley brothers.
That's a wrestling reference.
Correct.
Yes.
I
just want to make sure I got it. I thought I had
the 2020?
The 2020 Dudley Award.
Right.
Given
So
for what?
Little
What's it given?
context, maybe. Where was he? Trying to figure out where you.
You're going to give hints. He's got 3 in a row. You're
I know.
giving
What am I
hints.
doing? I'm trying to. What am I doing? All right.
I'm gonna say the independent player, the FBS Independence Player of the Year.
Great guess, but it's for the best college football player in the state of Virginia.
Oh,
All-
good one.
all
Good one.
divisions.
Okay.
All
Huh.
divisions.
How do you like that, Billy? Did you know about that, huh?
I did not know about the Dudleys. Again, I know Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley, and I know Milk Duds, which me and my buddy called Dudleys, and those are an elite candy.
That's a great nickname for that great candy.
It's an elite
Underrated
candy.
candy. Milk Duds are extremely underrated. Sorry.
It's also
one
a
more
great
thing.
nickname for anybody that's bald.
1,000%. 1,000%. Jared Dudley, awesome dude. He was great
All right.
to the ball.
Jim
kids.
Dudley.
3
NBA.
for 4. Question number 5. Malik Willis was named MVP of 2 college bowl games. Name one of those bowls.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Great guess.
Yeah, great guess, but you had no chance. There's 7 million bowls now. The Cure Bowl and the Lending Tree Bowl. He was MVP of both, so good for Malik Willis. How
He
about
was a
this one?
stud right there.
Malik Willis has now started 3 games in the NFL. He's gone 1-2. But how many touchdowns has he thrown in the NFL?
0.
Oh, that was correct. Sorry. Wrong
Yeah.
button. Wrong
Yeah.
button. You're correct. 0 touchdowns. Well, the first one's coming up this week.
Yeah, not a hot static. It's
So there you
changed
go.
first
now,
quarter.
Now Nooners are going to start throwing out there, hey, did you know Malik Willis actually started 3 games in this league? He's going 1-2 without throwing a touchdown. That's got to be worth something. Winning a game without throwing a touchdown. is
Yeah, and then everyone at the party is gonna be like, "Well, this guy stinks. Why are we starting him?"
Then he's going to go
And you're
on.
gonna be like, "Don't worry about it. Come on now, because he was the MVP of the Cure Bowl."
All right. He's going to throw 4 this weekend. So
We don't get these scores anymore, and I don't even know if they do the test anymore. But Malik Willis took this test. It's called the Wonderlic test. And within
jeez.
2, what was Malik Willis's score?
I want to say it's either really good or really bad if it's a part of the question.
sure. And you don't want to disrespect him, right?
I mean, you got no chance here because you're going to either guess a low number
Yeah,
and make everybody think that you think he's dumb, or you're going to guess a high number
Yeah.
with the risk of being way off. So what are you going to guess?
I'm gonna go with. I don't even know what the top score would be. I'm gonna say
The top
24, Bob.
Ooh, close. Well,
I would have
not that
given
close.
top score is 50. The best you
Okay.
can do. The best you can do is 50.
Fitzpatrick.
And
had it.
Malik Willis did 32, which is actually pretty darn good.
That's
really,
pretty good.
Really
Yeah.
good. Dan Marino had a 16. So I think Malik's going to be twice as good as Dan.
Twice as smart, that's for sure. Question number 8. Willis
you like that
signs off.
logic? You gotta believe. You got to believe.
I
You
love
know,
this guy,
you know,
man.
brains work in the NFL. Also, you can be dumb and still be good.
Fitzpatrick-
Yeah, sometimes you can be really dumb,
Fitzpatrick
really
had a
good.
49. That was the highest ever for a quarterback. And there was a punter that had 50. Question. What is that, John? I've never done that before.
I'm just waiting for you to conclude your.
I just want to give some context. Question 8.
Well, I love it. Question number 8. Malik Willis signs off of every social media post, big fan of him, with the acronym TGFE. What does that acronym stand for?
Thank God for everything.
Oh, you got it.
There you go.
Did you just come up with? Did you just figure it out? That was
It's not
good.
that hard, Armin.
Well, you're trying to
I didn't
figure it
think it
out.
was that
It's
difficult.
not easy just to get.
We
Armin,
tried
T-
to get the kids to
Armin,
understand.
just stop for a second.
Yeah.
TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday, but we already knew that one.
But if you know, thank God, and
So
then
you-
you get F4, you just got
Yeah.
to figure out what he's.
I guess you're right. Maybe that's easier than I thought. 5 out of 8 here.
Question number 9 here from
I'm rolling.
Billy on what does Billy know? Malik Willis's uncle, James Anderson. Uncle James is a 10-year vet who played the majority of his career for what NFC South team?
Ooh, James Anderson. That just sounds like a Carolina Panther.
Absolutely right. It's Carolina.
All right.
You played him, John, I'm assuming. James Anderson, you played it against him?
What position was he?
Linebacker, I think, right?
What years did he play?
Well, 06 to 12 with Carolina.
Well, then I did.
Well, that's why I don't know if you had a tidbit there about him.
Well, I mean, he may have been a
Well,
replacement
I mean,
of
they had-
James Anderson.
Well, they had Luke Kuechly at the time
Yeah.
there. They also
Didn't play a
had
lot. Thomas
they-
Davis.
Thomas Davis.
I was just trying to say, I thought maybe you would have had, oh, yeah, he was a good player.
10-year
Tough
career.
block.
10-year career. Great
He's a
career.
stud.
10
Great
years,
career.
double-digit numbers in career years. That's fantastic.
Right.
Last question, question number 10. Who was the quarterback Malik Willis grew up idolizing and tried to model his game after?
Oh, damn. That's tough because in Virginia, like there were no Virginia quarterbacks that were great. I'm sorry. And Virginia Tech, pardon me, Michael Vick.
Okay, you
gotta be okay.
You know,
I was
funny.
talking through. I was going Virginia Cavaliers. My man's not idolizing Brock, whatever his name was.
What's ironic is he grew up in Atlanta, and that's kind of he idolized him from his years in Atlanta. So that's kind of funny. You thought of it that way, which makes sense.
There we go.
But you know what? You know what though? I mean, it was a great quarterback.
What?
A lot of guys idolized that style in the mid 2000s and stuff like that. So
Michael Vick and Jared Lorenzen, that was kind of my combination.
The hefty lefty, rest in peace. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. You did very well.
That's a great start here.
That was a really good performance because some of those I didn't anticipate you getting, and you got them, and then you got the softballs. When this is how Wisconsin's going to have to beat Alabama. They're going to have to crush the softballs, and then they're going to have to find a way to get home on those tough plays. So you did that.
I say this: there's really hard to find tidbits about Malik Willis. I really dug deep to get these questions. There's not enough information.
His Wikipedia page got a workout, I can assume.
Malik Willis' favorite food, Malik Willis' pets. I did everything I could to find some interesting tidbits. So Malik Willis, we want to know more about you, buddy. You're the starting quarterback. We want to know more.
Yeah, we just don't want you going on IG Live. I'm just like, I think everybody should stay away from Instagram Live. Just like, let's keep that completely away from every celebrity in our ether. And most importantly, because Malik Willis doesn't have time to be going on Instagram Live.
He's working hard.
He's working hard. He said last night, though, listen, I'm still getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep. I'm not going to be stupid and make sure that I'm not healthy enough to go and play this game. We learned a lot about Malik Willis at his locker yesterday, and also learned he is a little taken back by the media. I'm going to hold off on giving you guys anything because I know what you guys might be out here to do. 414-799-1973. What we got to do during the break is find the sevens on the talk and text line, find a winner of that Tap-In Golf Bar free hour simulator time, and give you a winner before our investment hour comes up in 15 minutes. It's 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. 9 to noon. Welcome back. We're inside the Iron Jock Studios. IronJoc.com is the website to go to. Well, listen, because it's getting colder outside, you're going to want to make sure that you are preparing for those elements. However, as a couple of our football players found out, guys, yesterday at practice, September, yeah, it's still kind of hot. And one of the players look at me, John, and go, Coach, it's fall. Why are the leaves not falling yet? I said, first off, son, it ain't even the 21st of September. Do you remember the 21st night of September? Looks at me like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
yeah. Finally started humming the tune and he picked it up. But listen, it is still summer basically until October, I feel like. Then generally there's a nice swift wind that slaps us in the face, guys, and then fall is already upon us as quickly as it can happen. However, Iron Jock still knows you're sweating. So you got to get those t-shirts. The best t-shirt on the planet, period. No body odor, smell ever. Now through September 15th, when you buy 2 small logoed short sleeve tees, you'll get a third for free. That's a $39 value for free when you buy 2. Just enter promo code T-shirt BOGO at checkout. IronJock.com for more details. It's IronJoc.com. John Coons right there. Armin Sari and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's 9 to noon. We go to our investment hour coming up in about 10 minutes. But first, we give away for the winner of What Does Billy Know?
Yes.
7 out of 10. Rather valiant performance from your boy. That's 8 and 7. So next week, there are many people that are going to guess 6.
Or regression to the mean? What are you trying to say?
I mean, they would be disappointed because you can't go 8675309. They're going to try to find any way that they can grab a trend here, guys, because we have gamblers that listen to this radio show.
And a surprisingly high amount of people had 7 as a guess.
A lot of confidence in your boy.
I guess so. I picked it out during the break. Congrats to Jay and Madison. Jay is our winner of the gift card. So congrats, Jay. Just need some information. I will be texting you for that.
However, John, am I looking at it in a different positive spot when I get those guesses, when there's a lot there? Because I did tease that it could potentially be a list of 10 questions about Haktua girls. So, like, I don't know if that necessarily bodes well.
You would know that.
I thought. Apparently, I would. Yeah, apparently I know everything.
Keep waiting because I got questions in the chamber.
Own it, Billy. Own it. Brag. Get it out there. Swing it around. Let everybody know who you are and what you've been doing.
Armin's been watching a lot of Haley Welch videos.
She's funny, okay? She is actually funny, all right? She actually makes me laugh. So maybe when you least expect it, you better be prepared because it could be any questions. I write a lot of Matt in Milwaukee already asked me when I'm going to start outsourcing the questions. Look, Matt, if you got questions.
What do you mean? It's week 2.
It's week 2, and I write these things. If you think you have great questions, yes. One time, Derek and Whitewater had questions for me. Some of our other Nooners that wanted to be involved in the show. I'm happy to get be interactive. If you got questions, Matt, that you like, that you want to send along, feel free. I mean, I'm not saying no to any questions, but as of now, I mean, I'm putting in the sweat equity to write these questions. So
and we're proud of you.
I don't know what he's talking about. That's all I'm saying.
All I know.
If Armin can reverse psychology these Nooners into writing him 2 months worth of questions, yeah.
Taking advantage. He's a smart cat. Right?
I would just warn you, Armin, the last couple that have come in that we've used, they were hard reads.
Interesting. It's not that easy to do this job. I thought it was by reading the text line on Tuesday. I thought anyone could learn this job in a minute. So that's interesting to hear.
I did hear trained monkey.
Yeah. And I said, once again, don't disrespect the primates. I mean, those are great animals. So
that's what I'm talking
about. See those at the zoo all the time.
414-799-1973, NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Tyson in Zilla, Washington. Let's go, Billy. Badgers and Packers both getting big dubs this weekend. Come on now. And then there's Bill in Milwaukee that says Badgers versus Bama, Packers versus Colts, possibly without Love, and the Brewers running a gauntlet in the last 20 games. Can it get any better for Wisconsin sports fans? I like that positivity because, John, there's a lot of people that would look at that in a negative light. A lot of great opportunities to go play here for our 3 teams that are playing.
I would say, honestly, this is not to bring the mood down. Let's check in on Monday. Let's check in on Monday and see if it doesn't get any better. Right? Where's your positivity? How positive are you if Malik Willis plays the Packers are going to win?
Yeah.
And then where do you stand with Badgers?
It's going to be a great opportunity to go play.
Yeah. Let's
prove itself.
Matt pay 16.5 sound like enough.
There's some worry. There's a little bit of pause.
I'm a little nervous, but the Brewers, we got smoked last night.
Who cares?
Double digits put up on us, but it don't matter. We're still rolling with the Brewers. I'm cool with it.
Best thing is Brewers actually helped us last night. You know why? Because it was 8-0 after the second inning. So it was early enough in the West Coast game to say, I can punt and listen to the baseball postgame show when I'm getting ready tomorrow morning. I'm going to save up and make sure that I'm ready late nights for the rest of these West Coasts. That was nice of them to do. I appreciate the Brewers for doing that. Get it out of the way early. All right. Investment conversation on the other side. A former Milwaukee Buck making an investment in Milwaukee, that before we invest the way we like to with You Better You Bet and a Coons Can't Miss. Let's go caller number 4 for a Coons Can't Miss. Pardon me. Caller number 2. Caller number 2 for a Coons Can't Miss. Malik and a former Milwaukee Buck who's making the investment back in the Milwaukee Bucks. Caller number 2 going to be the player for You Better You Bet on the other side. Hour 3, 9 to noon right after this. 9 to noon. We talk about the biggest stories in all of sports, and we'll talk about the absolute biggest story in all of sports coming up after our investment segment, because we're trying to get all the details in here. We're working through the tape. You know, I mean, that's what
there are
just
things
do.
You can play and things you can't play here with the FCC.
Yeah,
so
no doubt,
we're weaving through what audio we can play and what audio we can't, and we might need, to run this up the food chain to find out legally.
Listen, the last thing I'm doing is
what are we doing?
I'm not letting last thing I'm going to do is play the wrong audio and let it damage my career.
Yeah,
someone else 100%,
can play his audio.
Someone else's audio can be on.
Yeah, someone else's IG audio can go. Not happen on this radio.
I'm not
program.
making the same mistake. That
You also
else
are in the position where you have to be Luddy and Zabin, because earlier today, I don't know exactly what they were playing, John, but all of a sudden Steve just goes, Luddy, I think this is clean, not positive. So have your hand in that dump button. Armin can't do that because he's got to then be in two places at once, playing the audio, also dumping himself. So we like that.
Yeah, okay. I just hang on.
Just hang on.
Unc.
Just hang on, Unc. We've heard the story and we're getting it to you coming up after our investments. But before we get to You Better You Bet and Potawatomi Sportsbook, an investment in the Milwaukee Bucks being made, this being reported from CNBC right now, amongst others, that former Milwaukee Buck and member of the, I'd say all Rafters team, because his number is hanging in the rafters at Fiserv Forum, Junior Bridgman is reportedly buying a 10% stake in the Milwaukee Bucks, according to three sources familiar with the deal. Again, this is being reported from CNBC. Transaction will value the team at $4 billion, a little bit over, I believe, the $3.5 billion valuation when it was bought by Dee and Jimmy Haslam, their 25% stake that they ended up buying from Mark Lazary. NBA owners are reportedly going to be notified in a memo coming out today. The sources leading that part asked to be anonymous because the details are not fully known quite yet. But Bridgman is one of the most successful businessmen after a pro sports career, currently the owner of Ebony and Jet magazines. He's getting a preferred limited partner discount of 15% or a $3.4 billion valuation to buy a portion of the team that he played for from 1975 to 1984. He's reportedly has a net worth of more than $600 million after finding various successes with businesses in fast food chains like Wendy's, also being a Coca-Cola bottling distributor. The Bucks have not commented yet. Bridgman did not immediately respond to a request for comment on this time, but valuation keeps going up. This is right after the massive media rights deal gets signed by the NBA, John.
Can we go through some numbers real quick, Billy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so valuation on the Bucks, $4 billion.
$4 billion is what they said here. Yes.
10% stake.
$400 million.
$400 million.
We think. I mean,
no, I'm just running through some simple numbers.
Oh, yeah.
10% stake, $400 million. Net worth, $600 million. 2/3 of your net worth going into here. It says what people think of owning a team in one of these major professional sports is.
Yes.
That this man has done tremendous things since playing basketball. Tremendous things. Increased his net worth 100% many times over. And now he is going to take 2/3 of what he has done and invest it in a professional sports franchise. Milwaukee Bucks professional sports franchise tells you what they think about investing in these teams and the direction they see it going.
Quite amazing. And he himself is quite an amazing story. If you want to learn about business acumen, look into what he done. I think if 2016 Forbes had him as the fourth highest or wealthiest retired athlete in the world, behind only Jordan Beckham and Arnold Palmer. That's really amazing, obviously. And just think about where everything's come. Herb Cole bought this team for $18 million in 1985. It's just amazing to think about that explosion valuation.
In when? 95?
85. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thought you said 95.
No, that would have been.
Yeah, then it would have been something that we should have been all.
So Jerry Jones paid what?
140. Yep, in 89.
$10 billion.
Crazy.
Maybe more.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're signing contracts for like almost double it. It's amazing. And John, that point of what you said is very, very key in this. Like there were a lot of people and the folks that, I mean, let's just be honest with it. root against the NBA succeeding, right? Like to try and talk about no one watches that, no one cares about it. That truly thought the media rights deal was going to be less than what they had signed for on this current deal. These player salaries were going to go down in that sense. NBA said more money we're getting for every single one of these, and we're splitting it off, bringing another one in. Live sports is where it's at, and it's only going to further separate itself, I think, from the other forms of visual entertainment and television viewing. Like, for him to see that is impressive.
So let's be honest then. Live sports, the only thing you really need to watch now, right? I get people DVR games or, a round of golf so they can come back and watch it later if they're doing things. I understand that happens, but you better not watch it too much later because everything will be spoiled for you and you will be, and it takes the taste out of it.
Totally.
It takes all the flavor.
The experience is
takes
gone.
all the flavor out of it.
Yep.
Now, tell me what sitcom you're watching.
There's
that
no
you
appointment
sit down
viewing.
on a. Tell me what do you ever sit down and watch now? You don't have to. Why? You can binge a whole season on a rainy Saturday. It's spectacular. That's the way we watch
the
now.
most popular shows
live
are all
sports.
Yeah,
live sports. It's the only thing the networks and the stations can still grab, hold on to, sell like crazy because they know the eyes will be there at that time.
The world has just changed in that regard in terms of media. I mean, in the 90s when Brandon Tartikoff and Warren Littlefield of NBC set up the must-see TV lineup, Seinfeld, Friends, Mad About You, all these, great shows, Cheers, right? People had to be locked in.
You had
TV.
to sit down.
Right.
Yeah.
9
No
o'clock.
longer.
I remember when Seinfeld was on 9 o'clock.
You
What
didn't
was
move.
it? Monday nights? 9 o'clock.
Thursdays, I think, right?
Thursday
John?
night.
Yeah.
9 o'clock on whatever night, and my mom being pissed off because I wanted to watch Seinfeld before I went to bed. But I had to
You're
because
locked
if I
in.
missed it, and I'm not recording it on one of those VHS tapes. Right?
Not the same. I'm not recording it over
No.
your 8th grade football game. We're not doing that.
I'm serious.
Find
Is
the
there
tape, hurry up.
anything? Is there anything that you watch when it comes out, when it goes live?
The only thing I think some people do, Bachelor, right? The live.
Sometimes
Some realities will find a
Survivor.
live moment.
Listen, Survivor,
Yeah.
I will go to if we can. However, a lot of times Survivor's even getting watched the next day.
Sure.
Yeah,
It
and
So you
sounds
got to
like
watch
that.
it. You just stay off the spoiler
Yeah.
pages. You don't really search anything for that period of time. But yes, a little bit of Survivor, maybe a little bit of Bachelor. What else are you going?
Like reality show live events, like reunions, but even to that, not the same extent.
Yeah,
John,
not the same.
you're right. It's live events. It's sports. Maybe something like the debate, that a one-off
Oh,
event.
true. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
you
it
got
has
the debate.
it's
You got
gotta
the
be live.
Grammys, but the Grammys lost its flair.
No
Their
one
ratings
cares,
are
yeah.
down. You got the Oscars; they've lost their
Yeah.
flair.
Award
Their
shows don't
ratings
do
are
it.
down.
They don't
They're
do it.
not the same anymore.
Yeah.
It's sport. That's the only thing you have that you can bank on people being in front of their television at that moment.
Yeah, it's the future of media, no doubt. I mean, if you talk about the traditional mediums, obviously people go live on the internet, on streaming platforms that will command an audience.
Oh,
right?
sure. Like
Yeah.
when you go live on YouTube for a nightcap after a certain IG live video goes
Well,
off.
it's funny,
right? 180,000 people watching a video stream.
Well, it's funny
Well,
you
that's
brought
one
him
way.
up.
There's one way to get your numbers up.
That's
Yeah.
one way to get your numbers
Yeah,
up.
but you can only do that once to that same effectiveness. Well, you can do it more than once, but it won't.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they do have OnlyFans. You
Yeah.
could potentially
well,
start
sure,
a theme
that's
here.
a totally different deal.
Could be. Wow.
It's funny because that's
Is that-
so many
does
different
he-
categories.
that's
he
the
can
And
go
he'll be
podcast.
changing it. He'll be changing it from nightcap to the post game show.
the funny thing about this is that's where I started thinking of
walk up.
I started thinking recently.
Follow it up. Oh my
All right,
God.
you're right. Actually.
Yeah, that's a walk off,
Maybe-
man. That's a
maybe you're
winner.
right.
You
I didn't
can't
wanna-
disrespect that line by trying anything else. We just got to
You're
step
right.
up to the
You're right.
wagering window.
You better.
You bet.
You better.
You bet. Check your phone.
Yeah, and you better know how to get off of Instagram Live, like as quickly as possible. You better have somebody being able to watch your feed and know when you got to get off there. All right. More importantly, let's hold it. More importantly, you got to know that Brenton Franklin has been waiting and patiently waiting to be a member of the 2024 mob, trying to get themselves to Carnivore to eat with the guys, but you got to beat the guys first to eat at Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over 15 years. The best place to get Wagyu cuts of steak domestically or internationally. Check out Omar's Wine Cellar, which is elite. What, like 300 different options right there, John?
Yeah, if you want to eat with the guys, you got to meet the guys. And for Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over a decade, Carnivore's extensive wine menu, as Billy said, over 3,000 different wines.
At a zero.
And then their international and domestic Wagyu steaks are even better. With the incredible craft cocktail list, you absolutely can't go wrong at Carnivore. Omar and the gang have something to meet and exceed even the finest taste buds expectations. It's where the classic steakhouse meets
the modern experience. And you
only at Carnivore.
Only at Carnivore. And you might not think you wanted to eat bone marrow, but let me tell you, once you taste it, you did want to eat bone marrow. And the coolest thing is you feel like a Flintstone. You got the bone right there. You know, you feel like we're in the, I got the bone right there.
Call yourself Bam Bam after that.
It's kind of a cool feeling. Yeah, it's delicious. You might not think, but
you show Lena Flintstones yet?
We haven't watched Flintstones yet. We got a lot of other important stuff to watch.
We introduced Jetsons. That was not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Jetsons. So we're going to go through another one.
You see what works. I mean, she was going through it yesterday because of the aftermath.
Ooh, okay.
So I had to calm her down. I flipped on the 2010 playoff game against the Falcons. You know,
that works out well.
Seemed to calm her down, Giants.
Yeah.
There's Uncle John scoring 2 touchdowns.
I get the unk. I'm the new unk.
Oh, it's
watch yourself on that.
Yeah, Uncle John.
I'm the good unk. I'm the good unk. Set nothing but good examples over here.
The unk that is not online. All right, let's get to Brent in Franklin. He's been patiently waiting to make 5 picks against the spread that are guaranteed to be locks, and I assume one will be the Detroit Lions. Brent, what's your first pick?
Well, I'm also not only trying to get part of the horde, but I'm trying to be one of the first 2-time winners. I've qualified, I think, every time.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, what's your first pick?
I should introduce
What's your first pick?
I'm going with the Commies -1.5.
Taking the Washington Commanders, laying 1.5. Jalen. Wow, I messed this up. Jalen Daniels plays quarterback at Kansas. Jaden Daniels, formerly of Arizona State and Louisiana State University, now the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels making his first home start, John, laying 1.5 against the Giants.
Now, wait, which one is it? Is it
right?
Jaden.
Yeah.
Jaden.
I apologize. Good
I feel like I never did that one before. Thank you. You have now just stuck something in my medulla oblongata that will never be removed because my kryptonite, my Achilles heel is names. And now you just stuck a name in my head that I am completely unsure if it's Jaden or if it's Jalen. I believe it's Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Yep.
Jaden. Yeah. Okay. Listen, a lot of rookie quarterbacks had themselves great preseasons and got a lot of excitement going on. Not a lot of rookie quarterbacks had great debuts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one where you got him once again this week. What can he do? The hope is with the home game that he would come out and play a little bit better. So we'll see if he could make that one happen. But now all I want to call him is Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, don't do it. Jaden Daniels. Jaden with the D.
Think of the D, right. Think of Jaden Daniels. No, I mean with the last name starting with the D. Jaden Daniels. Alliteration.
That's great.
All right, Brent, what's your second pick?
My second pick is the Texans are going to boat race the Bears and embarrass Caleb Daniels and shut him up for a while.
Now we got
Caleb Daniels is going to have a tough day.
Oh, we got Jaden, we got Jalen, we got Caleb. We got a bunch of Daniels out there.
So -6.5.
We got Mike Daniels. There's all kinds of Daniels.
And they have to boat race. The -6.5 is the spread there.
Yes, it is, John. As the Texans are a lot of people's trendy pick for the Super Bowl. They only beat the Colts, who come into Lambeau by 2. But a lot of fun on Joe Mixon's debut with the Texans.
You better ready to lay
it is
cash.
Week one, you find out a little about teams. You start growing throughout this first month of the season. That's when you start really seeing teams develop. A team that starts off good, not great, but good enough to get the win in the Texans. You take a look at them at the end of the month, they could be humming. They could be absolutely humming. Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, along with Tank Dell and the other weapons that CJ Stroud already had, that team could be really, really good. And I would, even if they don't score as many points as they did last week against the Colts, just don't turn the ball over. Just don't turn the ball over, because the Bears offense looks like it's going to be a work in progress for a period of time here. And the Houston Texans have a pretty good defense as well.
Who do you think hates watching the Texans be good more? Browns fans
or JJ Watt?
Well, that's a great one. Yeah, J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's the winner. I was going to say Panthers fans, but probably J.J. Watt. Probably J.J. Watt.
It's got to be tough. Literally, you retired like a year or so ago. You told them you would come back if they absolutely needed you.
Well, yeah, we're good.
We're building something new here.
We're all good, man.
And by the way,
Thanks,
J.J.
dude,
Watt's
good.
a first ballot Hall of Famer, hands down. Nobody's going to question it.
Never.
And they said, no,
We're
we're
good.
building something. And then he built it so fast.
Yeah.
They built this thing so damn fast.
And then they're like, hey, you can come work out here. We don't need you to play, but you can come work out in the gym. That's okay. We'll give you a free membership.
You don't text your ex back and say, "Do you really need me back?" Like, it just doesn't work like
No,
that.
maybe you do if you're that confident. All right, Brent is very,
All right,
very
Unc.
confident in this next pick. Brent, what's your next selection?
I'm going with the Colts -3 against the Packers. It's going to depend on whether or not Love plays for sure, I think.
Yeah, bet is -3 now. Line moved from 3.5 yesterday.
Yeah, moving a little bit.
Off of one thing that Matt LaFleur said. The window's open. Window's open, moved at half a point.
Half point.
Jordan Love plays, you're going to love. Or Jordan Love doesn't play, you're going to love that pick, Brent. Jordan Love does play, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I gotta
Giving
think.
the Packers 3 points with Jordan Love is a mistake.
I gotta think that this will flip almost a full 3 points if he ends up playing. If he doesn't,
I would agree. Yeah.
I could see 4.5 coming by game time. Like this could be the biggest mover of the weekend.
I think if it gets announced Friday, which it won't, but if it gets announced Friday that Jordan Love will play, I think if it gets announced Friday that Jordan Love is questionable. If he gets the
Yep, that's
questionable
what I was
tag,
gonna say.
by the way, for people out there, questionables 50-50, doubtfuls 25%. Right? That's the likelihood that you're going to play. That's how they model these things, these terms when they come out. He gets a questionable, that thing's going to go to about even money.
Yeah, so
man, it's
if
gonna be
you're
awesome.
Schneidman, you're hedging now by hammering Packers +3 because if you lose your job, you need something to pay it
That's
off.
fair.
the
Yes.
bills, right?
Pay off the
So,
bills and
yeah.
keep your house for the next couple
So
of
you
months.
want that good line right there.
Smart work by you.
Yeah.
I like that deal. And you could middle it, right?
Yeah, absolutely could.
You could walk out of there as just strutting your stuff around. That
with
could be
money
big
and a
win.
job.
Money and a job. Think about that. All right, Brent, what's your next pick?
I'm going with the Niners -5.5.
San Francisco 49ers laying 5.5. Well, it's now 5
Just
at
switch to
Potawatomi
5.
Sportsbook.
But you got it at 5.5. I'll give it to you.
On the road at the Vikings. Armin already might have a Vikings Niners money line investment here because I know you just hate thinking that the Vikings are good.
I do, and but they're in Minnesota, so maybe that +200 is looking better. That's a tough one right there because I think the Niners are obviously better, but the Vikings are starting to mess with my mind.
Aaron Jones loving KOC, John, giving him a chance for 100 yards, extend his streak. Interesting there with the Vikings. The one team that beat the 49ers in the regular season last year.
I'm happy for Aaron Jones, but I don't believe this Vikings team is what they were in week 1. I think that was a little bit of a mirage, and that mirage is based off of who they played, being the New York Giants. And
Sure.
I think this is going to be your coming back to earth moment. We saw the Jets and how much they struggled against this team. I think it'll be very much the same here for Minnesota.
What a regression to the mean. Hey, you get the New York Football Giants, who actually are playing football like it's 1927, not only wearing 1927 uniforms, then you get the wagon of the 49ers. Heck of a
It's like, can we have a build-up game?
yeah.
Can we have?
Hey, can we get Alabama here in the middle to give ourselves a trend upwards?
Tylenol game, it make you feel better, right?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, or chicken soup game I used to use, but Tylenol is a little more effective.
I like chicken soup.
Well, I'm just saying.
I bet they
chicken
probably
soup-
have amazing stuff at Potawatomi, not at the sports book. What they can have the chicken wings at the sports book. Amazing experience. Get those when you try to see if Brent and Franklin's 5th pick and final one cashes. What's your next selection, Brent?
I'm going to go with the Rams. Even without Puka, I think they're going to send Kyler to another loss, and that's my lock +1.
All right.
Locking in the Rams +1. Rams also missing a couple other guys up on the offensive line. Noteboom is very notable there as well. Kyler and the Cards, John, gave a little bit of a scare for a couple of quarters to the Buffalo Bills. That was a fun result from week 1. Interested to see what Arizona ends up doing.
What's even more interesting is seeing what that young wide receiver is going to do in his second game. Was Harrison Jr. was not very happy with what happened in game 1.
And I
Said it was
started
very
him.
ugly. Some mistakes were made, and I would suspect they're going to try and feed him a little bit, give him the rock, give him an opportunity. The Rams, though, look damn good against the Lions.
Yeah, they did.
I give a lot of respect to the way that they fought in that football game. Being down a couple of starters, that's going to hurt, though.
It's going to be very interesting
Yeah.
to watch. We'll be keeping tabs on all of them, and Brent will be keeping tabs because he's trying to become First 2-time winner in You Better You Bet. Tune in next week, Brent. See if you win.
All right, thanks, guys. You have a great day.
See you, buddy. There we go. That's Brent in Franklin. We continue to invest with a Coons Can't Miss right now.
Nice win last night, John. We weren't here for it, but I heard about it. I saw it. Nice win.
Oh, yeah. Well, way to keep tabs. Proud of you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
You got it.
I appreciate the pat on the back there, Armin, as the Dodgers did win that one. I think it was 10-8. We had the Dodgers minus 1.5. A big old 4-home run first inning had me feeling good. And then the old battle back was like, all right, hold. Don't do what the Brewers did the night before. Had that thing in the bag, and then they let up a run in the 7th inning that lost me one. So I'm 2-1 for the week. And I'm here to remind you that Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook is the place to take in any one of those live sporting events that we talked about, because it's a game-like atmosphere. It's a stadium-like atmosphere while not having to bear the elements. You got air conditioning, you got heat in the winter, and then you have lush, cushy leather couches and recliners that you can kick your feet up and watch a 2,000 square foot LED screen, all while eating yourself a coon dog at the sportsbook. So make your way down there, because it's the biggest sportsbook outside of Vegas. Yesterday, Dodgers minus 1.5 got us to 2-1 on the week. I need one more to make it 6 consecutive weeks of winning, Armin. 6 consecutive
That would be
winning
pretty
weeks.
impressive, John.
That's what we're doing.
Pretty good.
We're doing it by weeks now, kind of like the Brewers do by series. And tonight, here's one for you. Here's the stat of the day. Josh Allen's passing yards in his last 5 games against the Dolphins: 359, 320, 352,
What?
304,
What?
400.
Man, that's some wild numbers.
Depending on where you go, Josh Allen's overall average for over-under tonight, 246.5. They not feeling great about the young new receivers they have there, so they have his line rather low. I think the trend stays here. I think it bucks the trend of the early NFL season, and I think Josh Allen goes above. Now here's a bargain buy, 243.5 at Potawatomi. That's their even line, minus 114 for the over, minus 114 for the under. Over 243.5 here for Josh Allen tonight.
All right, I like that, John.
That's
Let's
what
see
I'm
if that stays consistent. Josh Allen over 243.5 yards.
Also 6-0
that.
on Thursdays.
And I would love that, because I'm starting him this week against somebody next to me here, John, in the iHeart League.
Yeah, he's going to need all the help he can get. Luckily, Armin let me into the postseason last year so I could go and win the whole thing.
Well, you know what? We haven't forgot that. We got a chip on our shoulder.
What's your team name?
My team name is Armin, period. I changed it last night, actually. Did you see that?
What?
Did you spell out period, or
Yeah.
did you just put the period?
I just put it there. I thought it'd be a funny name. Just, very minimalistic. Used to be 12 dudes, 1 chub. They used to be my name. Okay. That's what you wanted me to say. You love that. But he's not playing anymore, really. I mean,
Yeah, it is tough if he's not on the field.
So I changed that name up. I'm in workshops for a new fantasy name. But right now it's just Armin. That's it. Armin, period.
Maybe Michelle period would be a good one. 414-799-1973. The story of the day, the story in sports that we'll talk about on the other side, as well as some more football, because the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, good game here tonight. Bama and the Badgers, the topic of conversation tonight at the football feast. Let you know exactly where you need to be for your chance to go to the home opener, thanks to Miller Lite and Buffalo Wild Wings. That coming up as well. Hour 3 and 9 to noon rolls on with John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sari, and stay wide on the game. football feast tonight invades Fitchburg, Wisconsin. That's right. Your chance in the Madison area to be going to Packers and Colts tonight. We give away a pair of tickets inside the Miller Lite end zone each and every game. Each and every home game for the Green Bay Packers at the football feast. Last week, when I pull that name at Buffalo Wild Wings on 27th Street, guys, group of 6 dudes in the back, ready, all 6 of them wearing different NFL jerseys, getting ready to celebrate the return of NFL football. One cat won. There were a couple of individuals that were real sad at that table, though. Only 2 tickets, and only one guy was going with my man Bryce, who ended up winning.
So what happened there?
He ended up taking his brother. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes some sense. For the other 4 dudes that were there, they weren't as heartbroken, but they ended up celebrating with another round of discounted Miller Lite Tall Boys. So that's how quickly the energy can flip from being disappointed that you didn't get tickets to Packers and Colts to then being like, well, I am still listening to Drew Olson, Billy Schmid, Matt LePay, KB hanging out with us, Hunter's there making some award-winning selections. It's a great time. So not only if you don't win the tickets, you're still going to enjoy buy one, get one free wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. However, added opportunity to win free Packers tickets, John, people in the state of Wisconsin are taking up on that.
Yeah.
They're going to be there.
You takes his brother, but now they all ride up together. They all tailgate together.
That's a good call.
They find some tickets on the side. You know, there's some people hanging around, some scrun hanging around. And make your way in. You might not be able to sit together, but you all make a trip out of it.
Exactly.
It's a good call.
Find a way in the building. That's all that matters, right, guys?
And they get in the door tickets for this game. You might be able to find something even closer to game time, especially if there's a announcement on that quarterback playing or not. That might be interesting. All right, yesterday, interesting thing that just took over the internet, fellas. Shannon Sharpe got himself into a situation. Here we go. We've tiptoed around the topic quite a bit here today. It is the biggest story in all of sports when arguably one of the most discussed sports talkers finds himself live on Instagram Live, huffing and puffing like no other. That is an interesting time. There is a place and time for us, though, guys, when on the internet somebody can almost turn. It seems like he has turned what would be a fireable situation for many others in sports into arguably the greatest commercial for Roman that I've ever seen last night when he goes live with Ocho Cinco. Do we think this is a work from Shannon Sharpe?
It's a great question. Great question. Do you have an instinct? Because for me, my instinct is it is a work. It's too hard just to accidentally. I know butt dials exist.
They do.
But in theory, if the phone's on the bed, you're not butt dialing anything.
But Armin, these phones, they just start up on their own. I mean, there are times my phone is in my pocket. It's in my pocket. I'm not even fiddling with it. The thing was locked before it went in my pocket. And then I hear,
okay, I get that.
I'm FaceTiming my Aunt Deb in York, Pennsylvania.
Who you haven't talked to in a year and a half.
For a long, long time.
I get your point. It could happen, but okay, like you said, it's in your pocket. We don't think he had any pockets on. So you get what I'm trying to say? I just don't know.
Didn't sound like there were pockets being worn.
It's just hard enough. It's hard enough for me to get my dad to understand how to do a video call, right? Without me believing.
Yeah.
Armin, I don't understand. It says swipe to open. It says swipe it, Dad. Oh, you mean swipe it like this? Oh, yeah. So it's hard for me to believe that it can just happen like that. But hey.
It's funny. For those of us that know how to use telephones,
right? They
always seem to malfunction. For those that don't know how to use telephones, they work perfectly fine. They just don't know how to work them.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like I'm trying to see here. I guess now I'm live on Instagram. So that's how quickly it can happen. And that now I'm technically live on Instagram with Armin Sarian. So it does work. Like it can be that quick that all of a sudden you're live on Instagram. Okay. I didn't just throw my phone on the bed and it just happened. I was just live on Instagram that quickly. Okay, so maybe I do need to give Shannon Sharpe a little bit more,
little bit more validity.
It was like 4 presses for me to get to Instagram Live because guys, that's the first time I've ever been on Instagram Live. I didn't even know you could go. Barely even knew you were going live on Instagram.
I knew you could do it, but I just didn't.
Had no clue how.
Now, for me, the other thing is I don't want to say a smoking gun, but he didn't seem like he was trying to hide. Right? He didn't seem like he was ashamed or trying to hide it. Like right away,
he was having some fun.
He's like, we're gonna go on a podcast and kind of be cavalier and joke about it. So
I'm just gonna tell all on the nightcap. Yeah, it just feels like it was a great pull for numbers, and/or I mean, guys, Shannon Sharp has been really trying to take over any media entity that he has ever since he stopped with Skip Bayless. John, is this just maybe foreshadowing into something that Unk is trying to potentially get into?
I hope not.
I sure hope not either. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But, we crushed Draymond for running from the court to talk on his podcast.
That's fair. Yes.
Right? Are we in a time now where every single thing in life you just got to jump on and hurry up and explain yourself afterwards? I hope not. Because this was better with mystery. We don't need, Armin, you got some of the sound of the podcast. I mean, do we need the crazy details that he started throwing out afterwards to give him the play-by-play of what happened?
Oh yeah, he was running it down pretty well.
I think you guys can find that. Yeah, you guys out there can find that. Let me just, I don't know.
You're unable to clean too much. Clear was maybe the right way of putting it.
Yeah, like cavalier.
Didn't anticipate this to be part of the way that you hear it explained.
I'll play this piece of his explanation. All right, it's okay.
I don't know. Maybe somebody was potentially harmed right there.
You know what I mean? He didn't seem that like.
Ocho Cinco had some real fun with it. It does, though, open up and lend itself to me feeling confident and happy in this regard. We can still joke, John, like dudes in a locker room, potentially into microphones. If Ocho Cinco can give him shade like he did last night, there needs to be a place still where you can fry your best friends and it's not personal. However, your buddy does something dumb. They deserve to be mocked and ridiculed for it, generally for a good 2 to 3 week stretch. Like you have to be able, we still do need in this life to be able to make fun of each other, albeit when everyone's safe and sound. And apparently there was only an ice pack needed. So
I give it to the people that aren't embarrassed by these things and just can play.
It's impressive.
Maybe he's massively embarrassed by this and he just comes out and plays it off. He plays it off quite well. Like, well, life comes at you fast.
Or maybe he did anything
Instagram Live happens
to push people to his podcast. Maybe he wants his Club Shay Shay to be hitting incredible numbers. It's amazing what people will do to try and get subscribers these days. Let me just say that.
That's like,
and if you're out there and okay, I guess Michelle overtook Monica. Monica was the big name, and
that's true. Monica, come make some money.
Come on, Paul Pierce has to.
Paul Pierce has to be feeling good here this morning,
or not, or maybe feeling like I better get my engagement.
Maybe I got to get my engagement game up. 414 said, "I'm calling BS. Way too many buttons to push." Also, who uses their full name? It's a fair point. Who's just saying the full name in the middle of the time? Interesting talk.
Yeah.
Interesting start. I did not anticipate that being the biggest story in sports coming in here today, but Shannon Sharp, good on you. Good for you. You got yourself right there on a lot of those numbers.
The massive search on possible Michelles is just
outrageous.
Crazy.
They've been trying to find,
people are trying to find a Michelle very, very quickly across the internet. It was a fun place to be last night. That may have been peak internet coming up last night. All right. Peak 9 to noon is when we invest in our number 3. We've already done that. However, talk about the Milwaukee Brewers last night. Ooh, not the one to be investing in. However, today, a different beast. Potentially will round third, head for home right here on 9 to noon with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game. Welcome back. Final moments at 9 to noon. Looking for our quick trip takeaways of the day on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. Bring you those in a moment. But fellas, guess who's back? Back again. Pac-12's back. Tell your friends, but in a much different way coming up here today. They announce starting in the year 26-27, the Pac-12 will be back as essentially the Pac-6. Because they are adding to Washington State, Oregon State. They're just becoming Pac directional school or Pac State school because they go Oregon State, Washington State. Welcome in Fresno State. How about we make it in California, San Diego State? Let's keep ourselves on this trend, right? Hit up over in Boise. Why not grab Boise State? Mm-hmm. And to complete the quadfecta? Is that what you would end up calling it?
I guess a quadrangular.
I gotta get in my horse racing.
You're at 5 now. This is penta.
Well, no, they're adding 4. I'll be at a full 6 teams that all end up with the states because they're also adding in Colorado State. So all 6 teams, all state schools, as they now will find after next year's academic calendar and athletic calendar, they will have all 6 schools as states in the Pac-12, which is actually 6, which used to be the Pac-10.
I mean, they're still trying. You got to give them credit for still
fighting,
trying,
scratching,
we're
and clawing,
still fighting.
Man.
We're not giving up. We're not leaving. We're not giving up. But it just doesn't hit the same. I mean, it's like when it's like if a brand tried to make a comeback and it didn't feel the same, and it wasn't. I don't know.
Not dead yet.
It's like the second edition of Will and Grace.
I don't know. Champions made a pretty nice comeback.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Their old school style.
People wearing Champion again. Yeah. But I don't know if it'll. Okay, Colorado State, but they're good programs. Fresno State, Devontae Adams.
I mean, I don't know.
They're not the worst programs.
I mean, like this has old Conference USA written all over it.
It feels like when Conference USA, when Conference USA was like the leftover conference when Marquette was in it. You had a few really powerful schools at the time, at least in basketball. Louisville, Cincinnati, Marquette. You had, St. Louis was good for a while. Charlotte, DePaul. But then you had like East Carolina, you had Tulane. You didn't know what was going on from week to week in Conference USA. And then you looked up when all those teams left and the Big East started. It's like, who is left in this league? UTSA, and it became unrecognizable. So it does feel that way a little bit, And it's kind of sad for me as can you imagine what it is for Pac-10 loyalists?
Yeah, no
fans
doubt.
that used to love the Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever you used to call it, but.
It's really, really sad. And this makes me even sadder to say. I'm glad Bill Walton didn't have to see this, right? In Conference of Champions, he loved it so much. And for people that did and still grow with it, man, it is going to be weird. Like when you don't have barely any of the original teams in there. I also, though, just want to know what other states could they grab, right? Utah State is sitting there in the Mountain West. They passed that up. Should have grabbed that one.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, like, let's start looking.
Just bring the Dakotas up. South Dakota State, North Dakota State. They can play with those teams.
Good one. Yes, put them in the pack. Like, you could find ways. Montana State, grab them too.
Big Sky, we're doing Big Sky.
Let's grab them from the Big Sky. Like, let's find as many states and then just buy into their brand. I
like the Big Sky. I like the Big Sky the way it is. I don't want people to pull from the Big Sky.
Okay, I appreciate that. You know who really appreciates that? Luddy.
Luddy does.
Luddy doesn't want the Big Sky touched at all. He wants Montana State to have themselves their moment.
Well, now Idaho has a state. The Bengals or the Bengals?
The Vandals are Idaho.
Yeah, so Idaho State is the Bengals.
I did not know Idaho State was a part of this.
I remember Marquette playing a bye game against them once.
That sounds like a game Butchie would have called.
How about Cal State? Everything. There's like 10 of them.
That's true. Cal State,
Fullerton, Irvine, they
can find just about anyone.
Yeah, there's a lot more. They're all in the Big West. I know because think about basketball conferences, right? Not all these teams play football. You have the WAC. You had UNLV maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but not a state unless maybe UNLV throws state at the end of it and then they can get in.
I guess a point.
Texas State could be a possibility.
Is there Nevada State? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We never.
I don't think so.
I always wonder why we didn't have a Wisconsin State. I thought somebody would try and make their school like Oshkosh or somebody would go
Whitewater,
Wisconsin State, and then try and
because the state league is just too good. The state schools and their league just too good in the WEAC. You don't want to change it up that way. I like that. That's our Quick Trip takeaway of the day, brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Do not cook. Don't do it. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. You might even find. Or you'll find spicy chicken sandwiches on sale here today on Thursdays. Not that I usually frequent those.
That's a lockdown.
Those are guaranteed. That is an absolute banger. You know what's going to be a banger? Matt LaFleur's press conference later on today when he tries to open that door open just a little bit more, John. Open that door a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
Can't wait.
And also to hear how Matt Schneidman tries to back himself down. Because he should be joining us on the football feast here tonight.
Matt Schneidman is sweating out that presser.
Yeah, he's nervous.
You better believe he's getting asked about that right out of the gates when he joins us at 6. We'll be on at 5. Drew and KB start up at 3 at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Fitchburg. Matt LePay and myself join at 5 for the football feast. Someone is going to Packers and Colts. And then tomorrow, Football Friday right here on 9 to noon. We expect perfect attendance. On the NicoletLaw.com talking text line, everyone on the YouTube page, everyone on the X stream, and us three are going to be here. So you don't want to miss it. 9 to noon coming up tomorrow. And we will try to be better. For John Kuhn, Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmid. We'll hand it off to Mike Heller right after this on The Game.